Well, good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Okay, I just saw that we went live. I was looking for that to make sure that I could post that for people because folks are looking for their live feed, and I really did not want to hear folks fussing with me today. So good afternoon. It is Tuesday. It is, how many degrees is it outside, Michael? Because I can't see it from this Zoom page. It's cold. Let's just start there. It is cold. And so after waking up this morning and listening to the fact that yesterday, February 22nd, 2021, it's 43 degrees. All right, it's warm enough. My little Jamaican blood is still cold. Learning that over 500,000 people died from COVID-19, I have decided that every day moving forward, I'm going to tell a story about some of the people that have passed away. So if you have someone in your family that died from COVID-19, I want you to email me here, A.L. Sanders. So that's A as in apple, L as in lollipop, SANDERS at WURDradio.com. The ultimate goal for me is to make sure that we start to really put faces and families to these names, that we don't just think it's 500,000 folks. That's 3 wars. That's the deaths from 3 wars combined in this country because of a virus that was not handled properly for a long time. And so Cody Anderson, as it was reported in the Philadelphia Inquirer and other mediums, died from complications to COVID. Cody Anderson, who was a legend and an icon here in this city. Cody Anderson, who was unassuming, loving on people, making sure that we had what we needed, who was in great health. You know, we were talking about this, a friend and I today, and he was like, Cody has always been in good health, never been in the hospital, but complications from COVID-19 took Cody Anderson out of here. And so when you start to put faces and people that you know and love to this virus, then it would make sense that you start to take it more seriously. Yes, vaccines are happening. We're looking at that across the board, but you know, some places are still high. Philadelphia still has 300 and something cases a day. And so we want to always make sure that we're doing the right things on behalf of the families. And so I'm going to share with you a story. The first lady, and I remember her because she made national news. She's local here to Philadelphia. Mary Sharp was born on February 16th, 1935 in Norristown, Pennsylvania. She was 85 years young when COVID stole her from us. Prior to her being hospitalized with COVID, she had only been hospitalized once since giving birth to me and my brother. She was a strong and energetic woman. Mom loved jigsaw puzzles, word puzzles, music, and she loved to dance. I took Mom on a cruise for her 85th birthday on February 16, 2020. She always said that she wanted to cruise at least one more time before she left this earth. Lord, I had no idea she'd be gone 2 months later. My brother had surgery in March of 2020, so Mom, Aisha, and I ventured to Maryland to be by his side. Mom had what we thought was just a cold. The 3 of us, me, my daughter, and Mom, were in close quarters the entire weekend. When we got back to Philly, she fixed herself something to eat and went to bed. The next morning, she had a fever. I called her primary care physician and was advised what to do. The fever broke the next day, but she said she had no energy. I called her primary care physician again and was advised what foods to give to help her energy level. She said she didn't have much of any appetite, but she ate the 3 meals I fixed for her daily. Finally, on Friday, March 27th, the physician assistant called to ask if she was having trouble breathing. Mom said no, and she didn't appear to be having trouble, but she was good at hiding things. She was very independent. The physician assistant asked me to time how many breaths she took within 1 minute. After that, she recommended that I take her to the emergency room as a precaution. She never mentioned COVID. She just said they'd probably give her IV fluids and oxygen and send her home. I took her to Chestnut Hill Hospital at 2:30 p.m. on March 27, 2020. By 5:30 p.m., I was advised that they were keeping her. Around 8:30 p.m., a doctor called to ask questions about her health and meds. Mom was only taking a half a pill for her blood pressure. I was then informed they had intubated her. She was on a ventilator for 24 days. I felt pressured by the doctors to remove her. I asked if they not discount her because she was 85 years old. She was a whole different kind of 85. A doctor called to tell me Mom wanted off the ventilator. I asked her if she had discussed the ramifications with my mother, and she said no. I demanded to be a part of that conversation. I asked Mom if she knew she could possibly die if removed, and she shook her head yes. Mom made the decision to be removed from the ventilator. She held on for 3 days after removal, and then she died. My mom was out dancing 1 week before she came ill. I'm going to highlight these stories every day that I am on the air, so that you understand that these are people, average, everyday people that are living among us, that are passing away from this virus. People who thought, people who we thought would be here, that had never been ill a day in their lives. People who, had gotten through worse things and then got this virus and passed away. I need you all to pay attention. I'm begging you, right? Because until it happens to you personally, I've seen people here on WURD radio talking about the fact that their mom had it, their cousin had it, their brother had it, people have died from it, and still folks are out here just mingling and carrying on as if there's nothing going on out here. This virus is deadly. 500,000 people are nothing to sneeze at, right? So here we go. There is in the New York Times, they have a piece about COVID and by state. And in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, there are 340 average daily cases per 100,000. So the 14-day trend is coming down, but it looks like it's spiking back up a little bit. In Lancaster County, it's 142 cases. Their trend is going down. In Huntington Valley, 11 cases. Their trend is going all the way down. So it depends on where you live. But just because it's not bright red, like in, let me see if I can find Wyoming. Lord Jesus, the numbers are just high in some places. You want to pay attention. What we want to do is get this virus down enough so that more people can survive it and we can get back to doing the things that we want to do in daily life. If we do not do that, we're going to have an issue in this country. And it's something that we just don't want to do, right? It says here that at least 1,454 new coronavirus deaths and 59,462 new cases were reported in the United States on February 22nd. That was yesterday. Over the past week, there has been an average of 66,977 cases per day, a decrease of 40% from the average 2 weeks earlier. As of Tuesday morning, more than 28,207,300 people in the United States have been infected with the coronavirus, according to a New York Times database. The thing that most people are not paying attention to is that, well, most people get over coronavirus. I have been saying this from the very beginning. Once we became aware of what's going on, there are long haulers. There are people out here that have had symptoms from this virus. They got the virus, ostensibly got over it, having lung issues, having heart issues, having kidney issues, brain fog. They can't remember certain things. Fevers that are coming and going. Their voices are coming and going. One was a marathon runner. I read that whole article to all of you last summer. She was a marathon runner in the prime of her health, right? And all of a sudden, after she got COVID, 3 months later, she couldn't walk. So she just having issues just stepping down, livers being, it's almost like it's running a rotor-rooter through your body. So if you want to take what's the word that I'm looking for? If you want to take the chance of getting coronavirus because you're seeing that more people survived it than not, be very aware that it's very different in people's immune system, and you could be one of those people that are the long haulers. Hundreds of thousands of people now are continuing to struggle daily as a direct result of this. So here we are. We have to take it seriously. And when you all talk about it's much ado about nothing for some people, and we're talking about getting vaccines and people are out here getting their vaccinations. I know the health department is opening up vaccination clinics. Let me just read that. They put out an advisory that says the Philadelphia Department of Public Health and Philadelphia Parks and Recreation will be holding a press conference to announce the health department's first standing mass vaccine clinics. Lord Jesus, months later. As part of the city's plan to make COVID-19 vaccine as accessible as possible in traditionally underserved neighborhoods, the health department has committed to opening 3 clinics that can vaccinate up to 500 people each per day. These clinics will ultimately run twice per week, once for first dose, once for second dose, resulting in up to 3,000 vaccines administered per week. This particular clinic will be held on Tuesdays until further notice. A second clinic will be added at this site when those vaccinated today will need their second doses. So let me see where this clinic is going to be. Martin Luther King Jr. Older Adult Center, 2101 Cecil B. Moore Avenue, number 35. So again, this is the Martin Luther King Jr. Older Adult Center. And so they're giving up to 500 vaccines today. I believe it's today, if I'm reading this thing correctly. Access the clinic site to record footage and take pictures. Press conference begins in front of the building. They're doing a whole press conference. I don't know if they're doing it, if it's starting today. So just, you know, we'll figure out and hear from them in enough time. But there are people lining up to get their vaccines. Dr. Ayla Stanford and group are continuing to do their COVID-19 consortium vaccines. They did 4,000 of them in one day. On Saturday at the Leo Cora Center. I do know that they are at Deliverance on Lehigh every day this week except Wednesday, according to what I am being told. You walk up and you get service. They will register you and give you your vaccine. If you don't want to take a vaccine, that is totally up to you, but I'm just letting you know what your options are. And I'm also letting you know that people that you love so dearly, when you wail and cry about how wonderful Cody Anderson was, please know, according to his family, he died from complications to COVID-19. When we put it in perspective, someone who was 78 years old that could have been here a little bit longer, we don't know how he got impacted, how he got infected, but we keep saying to you, wash your hands, wear your masks, right? He was probably doing all the things he needed to do and somebody else made him infected. We just don't know. And so we're taking every precaution that we have to make sure that people are safe, not only in our families, but all around us. I know we want to travel. Believe me, I am itching to get on a plane. Not doing it right now, though, right? Wanting to go see about my parents. Can't do that yet. And even though my husband and I have gotten the vaccines, and within about 2 weeks, we'll be 94% immune to the very first strain. There are 3 extra strains out here that are giving everybody tea for the fever, and they can't figure out how to make sure that we're okay. And they're thinking about booster shots and everything else. So while they're trying to figure it out, can we just try to figure out the best way we can help ourselves by simple things now? Washing your hands for 20 seconds, wearing your masks, changing your masks wherever possible. If you need extra masks, reach out and ask for people to see if we can help you. Maybe we can put a place for folks to donate masks and extra gloves for folks who may need it, because I've seen some folks on the street whose masks look like they've been wearing them since the beginning of the year, right? And we have to not assume that everybody can afford to get an extra mask and change 2 or 3 masks every time they get in and out of their cars or in and out of a store. That makes a difference. All right. So let me just make sure. Michael's probably talking to me and I don't even, no, he hasn't said anything else. So that's good. All right. So we have quite a lineup today. I didn't have an opportunity to get into it, to it with you all before I got on the air, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about yesterday. Yesterday's show was amazing. If you have any feedback from the conversation I had with Commissioner Outlaw, feedback from the conversation that I had with Latasha Brown, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, any feedback about Susan L. Taylor, CEO of the National Cares Mentoring Movement, any feedback about the conversation that Lorraine Ballard Morrill and I had yesterday about standing up outside at the Leo Cora Center. She stood for 13 hours. My wait time was much shorter because I had already gotten my first vaccine and the line for the second vaccine was much, much shorter. Jacob from Alney, how are you, sir? I can't hear you, Jacob. There we go. Jacob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. All right, how you doing, my sister?
I'm good, sir. What's going on?
Well, just what you're talking about. You know, our family member, Cody Anderson, you know what I'm saying? Yep. We got to think about, you know, like you said, we do all of the right things and still we can get it. That's why I'm scheduled to take my shot, and I'm going to do everything you said, the washing the hands, all of this until I get that shot, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Because, again, you know, I'm weighing it out. People saying, oh, you know, it's a conspiracy this and a conspiracy that. One thing I do know, COVID-19 ain't playing, right?
No,
so,
not at all.
So I'm gonna take the precautions that I got to take, and then the chips gonna fly where they may. But it ain't gonna be because I'm not gonna do the right thing, and the right thing is for us to get some protection against this COVID-19. So you know, you're telling us the right thing, and that's what we want. And then you have a choice. You know, once the information is out there, everybody, that's the beauty about everything. You have a choice. If you want to, you know, not take it, fine. I ain't mad at you.
Right.
But don't be mad at me because I'm going to get mine. You know?
How about that, Jacob? And I tell folks all the time, you don't have to call and tell us that what we're doing is wrong. Remember, you have the agency of choice. And so when you have the agency of choice, then you do what is right for you. I have aging parents that I need to go see. We all have people in our families that we love and care about. We have done everything that we needed to do to make sure that we stayed safe. Praise the Lord. My husband and I made it to this place without being COVID positive, but it was not without working hard and saying to people, yo, you cannot come in my house. No, you cannot walk in here with no shoes on. No, you have to put on a mask. We had a plumbing issue in the basement, and I was like, put your diggity dang, put the stuff on your feet. Don't walk into my house. Put on your mask. Wear your mask. And if you get affronted by that, then go somewhere else. We'll figure out somebody else to come into the house, you know? We stopped hosting our dinners. I haven't seen my parents in 2019, Jacob. Do you hear what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
And so we all are making sacrifices.
Yes. And it's going to be so good when you can do it. When you've gotten your shot, you, your husband, your family, and you got the protection. Now you can, you know, even if we still got to wear the mask for a while and still wash our hands, at least we have the protection. Because I'm going to tell you, sister, I miss my live concerts, you know, and I'm jonesing. So the sooner we can get back to some kind of normalcy, I think the better off I'm going to be.
Yes, you know what? You're right about them live concerts, man. You should have seen me at the Dell, jamming with the people.
Yes. I mean, look, I guess we was there at the same time because I made some of them shows too that last year. Yeah, and I can't wait to see. I can't wait to go to a old school Parliament Funkadelic.
Come on, Jacob.
I am a funketeer. Okay.
So is my husband. You can't tell him nothing. He will sit still until he hears a Funkadelic song, and off he goes. Head just a bobbing.
Look, I knew I liked him for some reason, you know. All right, Sister Andrea. As Reverend Joe say, look, you just keep on doing what you do.
Yes, sir.
And we gonna make our moves for what we hear that you done. All right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right,
you take it easy, okay? All right. Bye-bye. WURD Radio is a devoted team of hosts, producers, and staff doing everything we can to serve Black people. As other media outlets grapple with trying to discover the needs of the Black community, WURD puts those needs front and center, and we fight for them every day, all day. As we enter the final week of Black History Month, we know that our work is a part of this history. A history of Black voices that refuse to be silenced. If you were listening to the show yesterday and listened to Susan L. Taylor talk about the fact that we are taking care of everybody else but except our own in our communities, then you would know that this is very important, right? So they're asking you, we are asking you, we honor and call the names of those who have made Black history. But how are you making it? This is one of the most challenging times here, and we need you to stand with us. For $90 a year, $1.73 per week, or 24 cents per day, you can take action. Go to wurdradio.com/now and let us know the name of person in Black history that you honor or the host that sent you, and be heard. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wurdradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Your child deserves to be educated in a safe and supportive learning environment. Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School, a tuition-free public school, is accepting applications for the 2021-2022 school year. SLAC's 2 locations offer single-gender classrooms in a dual-gender environment. Kindergarten and first-grade classrooms have a 15-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Students learn music, art, and fitness. Southwest Leadership educates the whole child, preparing students to become leaders. slacks-phila.org, Instagram at Southwest Leadership Academy, or email info@slacks-phila.org.
I went to check on Pop today. We put our hands up to the glass as if we were touching. But really, the only touching part was that we both tried to smile.
That's no way to say hello or goodbye. COVID-19 vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we'll all still need to help slow the spread. Keep a 6-foot distance, wear a mask, and avoid indoor social gatherings. Learn more about vaccines and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
WURD Radio is independent black media. And we're able to stay independent because of our onWURD movement and members like you.
Treat yourself to the treat of buying a WURD membership. It's less than a quarter a day. That's less than a bag of chips. And we really, truly need to keep this platform going so that we can stay connected as we reimagine our community in 2021.
Start or renew your onWURD membership today at wordradio.com/4word or call 215-425-7875. WURD Radio. Independent black media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. So listen, I want to share something with you because I'm all about making sure that we continue to uplift and educate and show what's going on in our communities. Peace be still, hot flash. The Center for Black Educator Development to announce an educational justice movement to recruit Black teachers. On February 25th, Thursday, the Center for Black Educator Development CEO and founder, Sharif El-Mekki, along with philanthropic partners from Education Leaders of Color, Laura and Gary Lauder Family Venture Philanthropy Fund, Charles and Lynn Schusterman Family Philanthropies, Spring Point Partners, and the United Negro College Fund will announce the launch of a national education justice campaign and a scholarship to inspire the next generation of Black educators. Partners will announce a compelling investment in the work of recruiting teachers of color. Praise the Lord. They will share the origin of the campaign and important programmatic details to drive scalable growth in the number of educators of color across the country. Members of the media will have the opportunity to hear directly from the CEO of the center and funders who will have opportunities to ask questions. It's going to be on Zoom, and so I don't know if I should put this out, but if you need to reach the folks to get the Zoom link, it is Victoria Harrison. The email is Victoria.Harrison, HARRISON, at thecenterblacked.org. I'm going to say that again. To get the Zoom information and the link, it is Victoria.Harrison at thecenterblacked, so that's THECENTERBLACKED.org. I am hoping that you all join that meeting to make sure that you learn as much as you possibly can. Michael, just let me know if Pastor Waller is on, when he is on, so we can continue to move forward, okay? All right, so while we're waiting for Pastor Waller to join us, because, you know, I enjoy those conversations. This is interesting, right? So now there's been a conversation about getting students back in school. I have folks at the school district of Philadelphia that are just so incredibly frustrated because we want to get children back to school. We're working to try and figure out how to get children back into the buildings. And it's a conundrum with folks at the cabinet level not really doing what they're supposed to do to work with the educators, and the educators not really doing what they're supposed to do to work with and their children in the middle of that are struggling and suffering. I have been asking to get into one of the high schools because we're getting some funding through the National Cares Mentoring Movement to start a rising program where we would bring in a therapist and make sure that we work with students. Crickets. absolute crickets, right? And so when we sabotage ourselves when we don't want to, when we are told to do the work, and we don't show up, right? And then when you get caught not showing up, then it's, you know, everybody's passing the ball. There are children at the end of all of this, people. I need you all to get it together. So David Leonhardt from the New York Times was talking about this. He says, good morning. Can teachers get vaccinated quickly? And can most schools safely reopen now? The answer is yes and yes, right? So there are two obvious ways to reopen schools. One is to take precautions. Okay. One is to take precautions like mask wearing that minimize the risk of outbreaks inside the school buildings. Thank you, Michael. The other is to vaccinate the country's teachers as quickly as possible. Both strategies now appear to be feasible, and yet neither is happening in many places. In fact, folks have told me that they've gotten emails from CHOP that they could go out and get vaccinated, and they have reached out to the city and they've tried. And what I've said to them is, if you live in the city and if you're a school district teacher, go to the Black Doctors COVID-19 wherever they are. And a few people went out there this morning and texted me and said, yep, they gave us our vaccines. We don't have to wait now for our turn to be called, because they are aides. There are people who are substitute teachers, or are aides, who are librarians, who are nurses that didn't know when they were going to get vaccinated. And I'm like, look, if there are places opening up that will give them to you, and you're a teacher in the Philadelphia School District, go get registered and get your shot. And so that's what happened. Instead, about half of K-12 students are still not spending any time in classrooms. The rate of school closures are highest in Maryland, New Mexico, California, and Oregon, according to the Bureau. Experts say that the extended absences are causing large learning problems, especially for lower income students, which is why I think the issue is not, people are not so pressed, because in the suburban school districts, and yes, I'm saying it, their schools have opened. The elementary schools have opened, and now they're transitioning into opening up middle and high school in the suburban school districts. We can't seem to get the K through 2 to open at the Philadelphia School District, because folks are not working together, right? Today's newsletter looks at how American children can quickly and safely get back to school. The country now has enough vaccine doses to move teachers to the front of the line without substantially delaying vaccinations for everyone else. Nationwide, about 6.5 million people work inside a K-12 school. It is substantially lower group than the 21 million healthcare workers. Let me just make sure that, Michael, okay, we're still waiting for Pastor Waller. It's a substantially smaller group than the 21 million healthcare workers, many of whom are in the first group of Americans to become eligible for vaccines. As a point of reference, Moderna and Pfizer have delivered an average of more than 1 million new doses to the federal government every day this month. Did you hear that? That daily number is on track to exceed 3 million every day next month, which is March. Immediately vaccinating every school employee would push everybody else's vaccine by a few days at the most. A few states have already prioritized teachers, with Kentucky apparently the furthest along, according to Education Week. It has finished administering the first dose to the bulk of K-12 staff who want one. This is going to help us safely get our kids back to school faster than just any other state, Governor Andy Beshear said, and it's going to allow us to do it without risking the health of those that come in to serve the children. So now that this is happening, what's going on? Even before teachers are fully vaccinated, though, a process which can take more than a month after the first shot, many schools have shown how to reopen. It involves masking, social distancing, hand washing, adequate ventilation, and contact tracing, as Susan Dominus wrote in a fascinating Times Magazine story how Rhode Island mostly kept its schools open. It also involves setting up virtual alternatives for some students and staff members who want them. Right? When schools have followed this approach, it has typically worked, according to the research for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and others. In one of the most rigorous studies, a group at Tulane University looked at hospitalizations, a more reliable message than positive tests, before and after school reopenings. The results suggest that at least 75% of U.S. communities now have COVID well enough under control to reopen schools without sparking new outbreaks, including many places where schools remain closed. I want you all to hear this, because sometimes we kind of look and say, well, we can't, and we let fear pull us aside. If you're washing your hands, if you are wearing your masks all the time, you should be able to safely do this, because so many people have been infected with this virus, 28 million to be in fact, and over 500,000 dead, that we're building up a sort of herd immunity now. So you just want to make sure that there's enough, the evidence is murkier for places with the worst current outbreaks, like much of the Carolinas, Lord. And some schools do seem to have reopened unsafely, including a Georgia district that is the subject of a new CDC case study. So if the school districts are following what the Centers for Disease Control is talking about, masking, social distancing, washing hands, adequate ventilation, and contact tracing, then schools can open and stay open. Still, Douglas Harris, the Tulane economist who run the research group, told me all the studies are suggesting we can do this if we put our minds to it. He added, we can't do school the old way, but we can do it better than this. A final note. He said, I have been writing lately about the cost of the overly negative message that many people are spreading about the vaccines, even though the vaccines virtually eliminate severe forms of COVID. Schools are another place where you can see the costs in Oregon. Like Kentucky, Oregon has made it a priority to vaccinate teachers, but some teachers' unions have expressed skepticism about reopening even after teachers are vaccinated. So it's a conversation we're going to have to keep having. We're going to have, the same way we lived with influenza and figured out how to work around it, is the same way that we're going to figure out COVID-19. But what we cannot do is continue to let our children suffer at the expense of folks just not paying attention, right? We're doing everything. We have fought for you in Philadelphia to make sure that you would get your vaccines. You're going to get your vaccines. When you get your vaccines, it's now time to figure out, how do I reopen my classroom safely? Talk to the teachers in the nearby suburban school districts who have reopened and have been in school since November and December of 2020, right? Who will tell you that when there is a case of COVID, then they figure out exactly what to do, how to manage. And lots of them don't have the shields up in place and all of that stuff, right? Proper ventilation, moving through the classrooms has been very helpful in preventing the virus from sticking onto people. The number of confirmed COVID deaths in the U.S. has surpassed $500,000. And so President Biden says we have to resist becoming numb to the sorrow. The FDA said that it would let drug makers use smaller clinical studies when testing vaccines adapted for the new virus variants, which there are 468,000 of them, and 3 of them that are causing heartburn for the Center for Disease Control. So pay attention to that, which is why we say even after you get your vaccine, you're to continue social distancing and masking. It will prevent you from getting serious COVID, and it will prevent you from dying most likely, but you also have to take into consideration what you're doing, right? So good afternoon, all of you on the Facebook page. I see you. I'm just trying to catch up with the news now, things that we've not been able to talk about all week long. The call-in number is 215-634-8065. I have not heard from Pastor Waller, which means he got caught up and tied in somewhere, because he usually calls in on time. So if you want to call in to talk to me about Cody Anderson, if you want to talk about the guests that I had on yesterday, I heard nobody talk about the conversation with Commissioner Outlaw. She came in here and laid it quite flat. She didn't make any excuses. She wanted to let you all to know exactly what happened, where she dropped the ball, where the police department could have done better, and what they're doing now to change things. So call me and let me know what you thought about that conversation. I am opening up the door for her and I to talk more often about all of this, right? Let me see. Oh, gosh. And so when we're so caught up about what's happening in our own country, we don't get to see what's happening in other places. New data from Britain, where more than a quarter of the people have had a shot, show the vaccines to be working extremely well, sharply reducing hospital admissions and deaths. In Japan, suicides among women have risen for the first time in a decade, a sign of the pandemic's toll. So I had to have a conversation with some students at Ohio State University yesterday. I was their Black History Month speaker, and we talked about that. You know, how are they managing with this virus and having to work, you know, in their dorms, in their schools, and not being able to intermingle with each other. And the one of the most interesting things that I learned in giving Black History speeches all month long, when talking to college students specifically, is that, let me see. Okay, when talking to college students specifically, white ones, what they've said to me is, you know, we're seeing what's happening out here in terms of uprisings, and the hardest thing that we're having to deal with is sitting at our dining room tables and listen to our family members continuing to spew stuff that is not true about Black and brown people, continuing to spew things that make absolutely no sense. And so I gave them the book Cast and another book, Dark Money, by Jane Meyer. I gave them titles of some books to read to give them some background knowledge around why these things are happening, and telling them to stay the course, right? They want to help their Black and brown friends. They are the younger generation, if they have not been tied into what their parents and grandparents have said to them, really want to create a difference in this country. And sometimes it makes it untenable. One young lady said she just wishes she didn't even have to go home. Right? She could just go to the college and stay there because of the vitriol that is spewed at her table. Meanwhile, those same family members, Deborah came on last week Thursday and said, will show up and say, I don't know where our children got that from. We don't know why they're calling people the N-word. So children learn and emulate what they see. But quite frankly, there are lots of young people now that are trying to combat that. 19,000 people quit the Republican Party in Pennsylvania recently. After the insurgents on January 6th, 19,000 people who were Republicans changed their party affiliation. Let that sink in, right? And so I wish Pastor Waller was on, because he would tell us about, you know, we talking about this third party system. We absolutely need one here, because both parties need a good scrubbing, right, around the way that they've managed things and managed people. And you can tell people who are caught up in the party politics and the party messaging that they get, because if you dare to question the things that you see happening around you, it's like, well, did you read? Did you do? And I'm like, don't insult people. Do not insult people. Friendly Fred, I'm going to get you when I get back off break, okay? So just hold on one second. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Did you know you can catch the flu and COVID-19 at the same time, or even back-to-back? Don't risk catching the flu during the COVID-19 pandemic. The flu shot is a safe and effective way of reducing your chances of catching the flu or spreading it to others. And the flu shot helps protect you and your community from the worst effects of the flu. Don't say, I should have got my flu shot. Call your doctor or visit your pharmacist and get your flu shot today.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Intimacy and truth during pandemic times. The 4 kinds of love: sex, eros, philia, agape. The 3 ways to say I love you: information, intimacy, behavior. Information, intimacy, behavior. Remember, this is a pandemic time for the world. It's time to gather around and be truthful and real and honest and joyful. Hold hands and smile, for goodness sake. Don't forget the children, the teenagers, the older generations. Music and dance time is anytime, even if you hum or do the electric slide. Blessed assurance. I sing because I'm happy, Sam Cooke. Shake, or the Jackson 5. I gotta be starting something. Yes, dancing is allowed during pandemic times. Oh, happy day.
Hello, my name is Andrea Delzell, and I've been using a wheelchair since I was 5 years old. If I had one message for the general public, it would be relax. Some folks get really flustered around disabled people, so they just pretend we're not there. I've actually had waiters talk to my companion and completely ignore me. People with disabilities just want the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
This is a message from United Spinal Association. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. We have 3 callers. Let's see. Rick from Germany. How are you, sir?
Struggling to stay alive, sister. Struggling to stay alive.
How are you?
I've stopped eating, and I'm just ingesting vitamin C and thin soup and colon cleanse, overdose.
What's going on with you, Rick? Why did you stop eating?
Intestinal parasites for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
heavy meat eating for 6 or 7 of those years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feed the worms meat, they grow incredibly large.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to shut down everything just to stay alive.
Yeah, wow.
But I wanted to talk to you about the virus and the vaccine.
Yes, sir.
You hail from Jamaica.
I do.
I believe Louis Farrakhan also hails from Jamaica.
I don't know that to be true, but you could be right.
Do you know what the Nation of Islam is mandating for its people in regards to this virus and the vaccination?
No, sir.
Do you know if Farrakhan is still alive?
No, sir.
Okay.
Hold on. Now you're making me work, see? You all know when you start asking me questions. Okay. Okay. Yeah, where is Louis Farrakhan? I haven't seen him in the news in a long time.
All right. You've answered my questions, and I'll get out of the way so you can get on to the other people online.
And now you're going to make me work a little harder because now I'm going to go look this stuff up. But thank you, sir. Take good care of yourself, okay?
All right. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye-bye. All right. Friendly Fred, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great spiritually. I just want to say I took the shot. I had got my shot. I had to go back for another shot. And I just want to say I think about the good times, the things we used to do, and the places we used to go when everything was so mellow. It was so nice, and true love we shared. And now I'm going to talk about divine order right quick. So divine order is being directed by God. Divine order is divine government, God in control. Divine order is the flow of the Spirit as we yield to his guidance and direction. Divine government is the word truth active in our lives. Divine order is living in covenant power, right standing with God. And I had to deal with this chronic stuff I'm going through too. Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. Your pieces are like 30 seconds long, but I love them.
Thank you.
I think I do love them.
Thank
you. They remind me of why we're here, why we're having these conversations, that we have to remember why we're doing what we're doing, Friendly Fred.
Yes.
So thank you so much. I fully appreciate
You're
you,
welcome.
okay?
Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right. Bye-bye. And listen, man. And Ken from West Philly, how are you, sir?
Ma'am, we're doing well out here. We're safe. We're well. We're hanging in here. You know, the rest of the comrades are hanging in, too.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I have lost a number of comrades, people in New York, 5 at least. I got 2 of them up there on COVID at the moment, husband and wife team. I hope they survive it. We've got people down here who've got it. My family seems to be faring fairly well with it in general down here in Philadelphia and other places. My brother got the shot. He said he had a slight sort of reaction to it. He thinks it's bad food that he ate. One of my best friends, a guy named, he's probably on the line thinking about it, you know, hearing it over the phone here.
Right.
His brother got COVID. He's out of here. And unfortunately, an older fellow who was in his 80s, and he had made it to 80s, and caught COVID, and he's gone. So Larry's got his shot, you know.
Yeah.
And he's in good shape now, and he's going to get his second shot. I went around to the Black Doctors operation up on Leocoris. I didn't get my shot. I walked around there and rode around there, and it looked like it was going to take about 3 to 4 hours. And I decided that I would wait for the next turn-in that they're going to have. Call them today again, and they're going to have it in March, mid-March. Black Doctors is going to be out there. I don't know if it's going to be Leocoris Center. But what they are saying is that they will definitely get people vaccinated, or first come, first serve operation, and you can even register in advance. I'm happy with that. I'm a little upset if they don't have any toilets around, and if necessary, I'll get them some toilets. I ain't
so if you can get some porta potties for them and find out what the city ordinance is for them in terms of that, right? I just want to make sure that we help them to continue to help us, because more and more people, I know people from, like Lorraine and I talked yesterday, I know people from Delaware, from Virginia, like we trust the Black Doctors. Can we come to them and get our shots? So it's not even about the matter of getting the vaccine, which is where I think the people in the city are missing it. It's the fact that Black folks trust her and her group and would love to get the shots there. And so, you know, we like to piecemeal. Someone told me, and I forget who it was, Karen A. Robinson was on this very show talking about the fact that when Dr. Walter Lomax Jr. showed up in front of the city how many years ago to get the medical contract, I'll never forget it, and he got it with some $60-something million all the way back then, and a white council person showed up and said, but we don't give Negroes that kind of money. And so we give black folks a hard time, you know, to give them the kind of resources that they need to do what needs to happen. I had to think about that last night. Dr. Ayla is not just at the Leo Cora Center. She's at the Deliverance. She's at all these other places, right, trying to navigate all of that stuff. And sometimes they nickel and dime us to death around make this amount of money work, and where you're going to have to figure it out. You're a third-party contractor. You're going to make this money work, and that's that. And so if we can support them and help them in any way that we can, if you can get porta potties out there, reach out to them first, though. They're at Deliverance all week this week except Wednesday. And ask them, you know, and you can walk up there and get that done, too. So you don't have to wait for the next mass injection thing. If you can get to Deliverance.
Tell everybody what is that at Deliverance.
Deliverance is on Lehigh Avenue in North Philadelphia. I'll find somebody look up the address for Deliverance for me, please. Oh, look at this. I love you all. I love you all. People, listen, people are pulling up the Nation of Islam on the vaccine. Okay, now. So the Nation of Islam is saying, don't let them vaccinate you.
Yeah, that's a problem, and I would really, really pray that the fellas, and I don't pray a lot, I'm starting to do that a little bit. I just lost a dear friend, Bill Davis, up in New York on this. You know, I'm really hoping that the brothers inside of the nation, the sisters in the nation change, and the leadership change that direction. I've seen a video on it, and it really shocked me. I thought they'd be saying, go and get it from the black doctors, but, you know, it was in opposition. My position is, you know, I need to get all of our family vaccinated, and we don't need to go out the door fast like I know a lot of my friends are going out. I got 2 people here in Philadelphia, and they're like significant others. They got the COVID vaccine. They're doing pretty well. Yeah, Bob and Sue. Yeah, both of them. You know, they got the COVID, and yeah, my significant other shook her head. She said, "Who's that?" I said, "Bob and Sue." Yeah, they got it, and Bob's in the hospital. I'm hoping he's all right. I haven't heard from Sue recently. So, you know, it's like that. People get really sick out of this stuff, and they go out of here too fast for me.
Yes.
And I got a niece who got this stuff, and she can't even work well. I mean, she's got to, like, stop and wait. She can't get running around she used to do. You know, she can't do that anymore. She's in her 40s, young girl, you know. It's insane. We need to get everybody we can vaccinated. And I'll get off of here now. I know some more people must be out there.
You know they're calling, Ken. But thank you so much, my brother. And thank you for sharing your story with us, okay?
Everybody. This is the way to do it. Let's do it anti-Trump. Over and out. Yes, ma'am.
Come on. Thank you, Ken. Talk to you soon, sir. All right. Bye-bye. Ann, are you there?
Yes. Hello, Andre. How are you?
I'm good, madam. How are you?
I'm good. I was out there Friday to be vaccinated to get my first shot. And yes, the weather was inclement weather, but we had no problem. All those people, we was out there, and we were orderly because the different news people was out there. You know, they didn't come to us, but they were just standing all around. You know, things like that. And what is the doctor's name?
Ayla Stanford. Her name is Ayla. Ayla Stanford.
Right. She came out and she let us know. She said, I don't want you seniors standing out here in this inclement weather. So she said, what I'm going to do is you cooperate with me. She said, I'm going to let you in. And you go in the gym. And everyone said, okay. And people talking about, well, what about, you know, our space and, you know, that we're in. You don't have that to worry about. Once you get inside, we'll take care of that. And sure enough, once we got inside, they came along, gave us the card, they filled out, and she let us know, you know, if you're there for the second time, 25 minutes, first time, 15 minutes, you know, fill out your card. So to make a long story short, we filled our cards out and everything, and when you look, it was like they were coming from every nation. Her staff was just coming out to us, you know? And from the time that they came out, we fill out. And I'm going to tell you, it took like, to do all of us in that room, it took like a half an hour to 45 minutes. Bam, bam, bam. We had our shot. And you didn't even know, I didn't even know. I turned my head, I didn't even know they were sending stickers and telling the truth.
Yes.
And I was teasing, I said, well, since I'm such a good patient, what about a Band-Aid? Do I get a Band-Aid with the cartoon characters or something on it? And we start laughing. And, you know, I didn't realize she's so young. She looks so young.
Yes, yes. And has been at this for decades and really care about our people. And that's why it took the other people a longer time to get vaccinated, because she was looking out for the elderly. I watched her do exactly what you said, Ann. I did. I watched her do it. And I encouraged my in-laws to come out there. Can't even get my parents vaccinated, but I encouraged my mother and father-in-law to come out. They joined the line for the 75 and older, and they were in and out in an hour. I couldn't give them any special service. Wouldn't even have tried if I could, right? Because I want to make sure everybody got in, but she did exactly what you said. I got to take some more calls, but love you, my sister, and I'm glad you got your vaccine, okay? All right. Bye-bye. Sheila.
Hi, Andrea. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So I just have a quick question. I can't seem to find, like, a site for the Black doctors to know, is there a schedule where they're going to be located?
Right. So what she is doing, because so many people registered and that were not Black, living in a community that was highly impacted and was busting through there trying to get vaccinated, she shut down the site from registration. So this is why you're going to listen to us, right? Every day this week she is at Deliverance except Wednesday. Right, and so you're going to just walk up and carry a chair with you, carry a blanket until we kind of figure out what the other prospects are. But and then I know she's having another mass vaccination clinic, another mass vaccination in March, but I don't know the exact date for that yet. But we will continue to let you know. So just keep listening, just keep tuning in, okay? But she's at Deliverance every day this week except Wednesday.
Do you know what time?
They start at 10 o'clock in the morning. And they run until about 4 or 5, I believe. I will check with Dr. Ayla, though, just to make sure. But yes, but a friend of mine just left Deliverance and said she got her vaccine. So, who's a teacher in the Philadelphia School District. All right?
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome, my sister. Let me quickly jump in. Yvonne, hold on one second. Let me take a quick break and then I'll get you, okay? You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM. 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Toyota proudly presents In Their Own Words.
There was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
Who would have thought that that little girl would grow up to make history as U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, the first female U.S. Vice President, the first African-American U.S. Vice President, a proud graduate of Howard University, the first graduate of a historically Black college or university to be VP. That's why she inspires and encourages our youth to dream big.
And to the children of our country, regardless of your gender, our country has sent you a clear message. Dream with ambition. Lead with conviction. See yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before.
Toyota is pleased to feature African-American icons expressing themselves in their own words. Toyota, let's go places.
Okay, hers new fire potato chips and cheese curls. They are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Hers Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Hers.
Livelihood, WURD Radio's new initiative, connecting Black Philadelphians with jobs, entrepreneurship resources, small business development information, and financial literacy tools. Tune in to WURD Radio for our weekly livelihood segments and every weekday show. For a full schedule, visit wordradio.com/livelihood. For more information on livelihood, visit wordworks.com. That's WURD-WORKS.com.
Celebrating Black history all year long. Fannie Lou Hamer.
We are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Philadelphia, independent Black media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. The minute I ask a question, you all are on it. Between my mother-in-law and Andrea, who gave me the address of Deliverance. So Deliverance Evangelistic Church is at 2001 West Lehigh Avenue, 19132. So again, it's at 2001 West Lehigh Avenue. They're there. The Black doctors are every day except on Wednesday this week, according to what we're being told. So if you want to go get your vaccine there, please feel free to go. Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Mama D. I fully appreciate it. Now let me quickly take Yvonne and Tyrone before my 2 o'clock guest calls in. How are you, Yvonne? How are you?
Good afternoon, Andrea. Thank you for this segment. I'd like to give my condolences to the Anderson family for the great loss, and may God comfort them and, just give them strength at this time of their loss. Mr. Cody Anderson. I was just calling in about the vaccine. I just wish everyone well that takes the vaccine, because I know some of my family members have. But I ask people that no one be judgmental if they decide to take or not to take it. It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice, and I've kind of been getting that a little bit. And
people are telling you they're getting on you because you're choosing not to take the vaccine?
Yeah, I just want to be respected, because I respect anyone whatever choice they're making in life, because it's their walk, it's their faith, and what they do.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And so I have said that. Yes, ma'am. And I've said that 1,000 times while I'm here. I said it is a personal choice. We are not to berate people if they don't take the vaccine. We're not to berate people if they take the vaccine. It is your personal choice. There are people who are opting not to take it, and that is okay. They're making a decision for themselves and for their lives. We are making a decision for ourselves, because we still don't really know all of what we need to know, right? All of this is going on out here. So I want to thank you for calling in about that. I appreciate you reminding us about it, okay?
And thank you for my call.
You're quite welcome, my sister. You too. Bye-bye. I think you better call Tyrone. Call him.
Hello, Mother.
How are you, darling? I am good. What's going on?
Well, Mother, first of all, you know what? Those two African queens,
weren't they good?
That you spoke on, everybody, especially the police commissioner. I'm behind her 100%, because I had the opportunity to be in a meeting that she had with the police, with the PDAC, and just grab a bag. I'm sorry, Mother.
You know what, Tyrone? You know what, Tyrone?
I'm delivering packages. I'm giving out food packages.
Okay, all right. I'm going to let you get away. You're delivering packages. You're doing your work in the community. Yeah. All right, sir. Go ahead.
But I really wanted to thank you for, again, the young ladies that were on, and then the way that they expressed themselves and the way that they were talking to us. It was just like you and I talking.
Yes.
So that was the beauty of that. But, Mother, the address is 21st and Lehigh, between 20th and 21st and Lehigh, Deliverance Church. So
yes,
those
ma'am.
folks
Yes,
was
sir.
asking for that. But I just wanted to call to say that and to say, Mother, you're doing it. And thank God that you are. So we appreciate you. Love you much.
Thank you. Love you too, man. Take it easy and keep delivering, okay?
Okay.
Got it.
All right.
All right, put him on. Put him on, Michael, so I can talk to him. This is good. Gilberto Gonzalez was born and raised in North Philadelphia to parents of Puerto Rican descent. After 28 years as a senior graphic designer, he has moved into the admissions department of the Community College of Philadelphia. He is a local artist, film marker, educator, and community advocate. He was voted one of the most influential Latinos in 2014. Hi, Gilberto! See, I can do that because I was in his wedding. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I am so good. Let me finish doing this. So we're going to talk to you about your role, your new role at the Community College of Philadelphia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me, I've got the wrong, listen, I have 4 screens up, Gilberto. I had the wrong thing up here. So let me just open this up so you and I can talk. Oh, I'm so excited to see your face. How are you?
I'm okay. Hanging in there.
So let's start with the marriage. How's the marriage doing with Miss Lorraine Ballard Morrow?
It's weird, but it just feels so brand new. It feels so fresh every day. She's just an amazing, beautiful person that, you know, I thought it'd be like, oh, we've been together 11 years. It's all right. But no, it just every day is like, just feels so fresh with her.
Yeah, because you transitioned into another role with her, with both of you. She said the same thing. She just adores you. So I'm glad to see you so we could talk about your new role at the Community College of Philadelphia. So tell us what that is and what do you want people to know about it?
So I, after 28 years of being in marketing, you know, just for transparency, I've always kind of like tried to push an agenda of we need to understand the community we serve. And that in my 28 years, we kind of never really got there, right? But now things are changing. We have generals and we have a new VP, Shannon, and I really, and in this new position, which is, I just see hope that it's an opportunity. Well, my role is recruitment, just.
Oh, so you're recruitment. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm working just recruitment. But what I'm going to focus on is really getting the community access to our programs. Because community college, and not just because I work there, it's just an incredible institution. We have so many programs, we have so many certificates, so many degrees. We have people that go on to Harvard, we have people that go on to work. It's just an incredible institution, and you know, the goal is how do we get all of Philadelphians, in particular North Philly, which I'm from North Philly, you know, how do we get what CCP is out to the community. And that's going to be one of the things I push the most is that communication. How do we get our message out to the young people, especially when you think about all the violence? I mean, there are a lot of moving parts to that, but to me, I really do believe that there's a group of people that if we can get them into community college, we're going to save their lives and help with the issue of violence in the city. So
okay.
Overall,
so how are you planning to make that happen? Because you've been a community advocate for as long as anyone can remember. You understand intimately what's happening inside the communities in North Philly. I have interviewed you, not on WURD, but in another space around Kensington, right? What's happening over there. So you know intimately what the needs are in that community. What plans do you have in place for recruitment to pull them in? What can you say to them that'll get them into the community college?
So I think that the first step is going to be to, for example, bring in folks like Bilal Qayyum, bring in, and they're different. Again, there are different moving parts to this, and in particular with Latinos, I'm working on the Latino lane. But I gotta, like, for example, like if I can get Bilal Qayyum in here with other community folks to sit down with the college and get the college to listen. You know, the people that are the moving parts of the college that make things happen. If they can really listen to what the community needs as far as messaging, as far as like programs, that's got to be the first step, is meeting and listening to the community.
Okay. And so what do you think the barriers are to getting people into the college right now?
So there are a lot of barriers. One is that, as we know, and you mentioned it earlier, education in Philadelphia, I mean, the public school systems are not fully funded. Teachers aren't paid adequately. You know, the list goes on. So one of the things that is that our kids are not prepared to succeed in college. So even the ones that do make it, and I was talking earlier about this with Bilal, is some of the kids that do make it into Temple or something like that, or Bloomsburg, they wind up dropping out because there's some cultural differences. But so that's another aspect of it. So like, say, for example, we know that, like, for example, when I graduated from Edison High School, I was reading at a 6th grade reading level. I could barely read or write. And
when you graduated from high school?
Edison, yes. But this is the reality for North Philly, right? This is how we finish up high school here. So the problem is that a lot of kids can't test properly, and they're not college level, so they're not going to get in. So the first step has got to be, how do we prepare these kids to succeed? And the first step is, for example, we have an AccuPlacer on our website, which will, kids can take a practice test so that they can test at college level. Because the goal is, once they test at college level, once they're at CCP, we have so many support systems in the college to help these kids succeed. That, I mean, the goal is to get them in there at a level that it's realistic. Because for me, when I went to CCP and I could barely read or write, I mean, it took me a lot of extra years to just try to get that.
Which then discourages you, right? Because if you get to the college level and you're realizing that there are people coming into the college ready to go, and that is the criminal part of all of this. When my sons went into college, college didn't become hard for them until their final year, because they were so prepared at the K-12 institution that they were in, that they were like, wow, you know, they knew how to study, they knew how to write proper papers, they knew how to identify, just all of it. And so the last year of college was when they looked at me and said, ooh, this is going to be some work. And that's what we want for all children, right? But they have run into people in their college experience who got there, you're right. Not only they came in as 4.0 students, but 4.0 where, right? 4.0 in terms of, were you taking the basic math and got an A, or were you taking the accelerated math and got an A? And I don't think a lot of parents understand that. They are just being told that their children are excellent students, and so there are questions that we have to ask. And then those children drop out of school because they become so frustrated. So keeping them there is difficult. So I happen to be a big fan of the Community College of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I am. I talk about this place all the time. You would think I sat on the board of directors the amount of time I talk about the community college. But it's because I see the value in what is being offered. And I absolutely agree with you that if we could just get them into the door, right, and with the right messaging, and then when they get there, that there are people there to greet them and say, this is what we have for you, then you would see more students coming in, staying, and graduating, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, you know, let me I've had conversations with many a student from the Community College of Philadelphia in the first year that I have been on this radio station. And one of the things that they've told me a lot is the amount of services that were offered to them, right? You know, family issues, they didn't have the money for the books, they didn't have. But I often saw people who were either returning after not going for a while, or people who had family members that were fully in their corner, or people who they had a black male engagement piece. Where are the Latinos? You know, where are the other groups of young people? Are they faring as well?
So for Latinos in particular, the population in the school district, Latino children make up about 24% of the school district population. So at community college, I think we're about maybe, I'm not sure what the numbers are, but we have been as low as 7%. And sometimes we've been as high as 13% for Latinos.
Okay.
But when you talk about that data, a lot of people say that, well, we're in line with the city, right? We make up like 10, 11% or 13% of the city population. But in reality, Latinos don't participate in the census. We don't vote. We're not, so the true number of Latinos is never really known. But if you look at like the neighborhoods we populate a big section of North Philly. We populate a big section of lower Northeast. We populate South Philadelphia. We are a huge population that is truly just underserved. And you know, they always refer to the city, oh, well, we're 9 or 10%. So we're in line with the city. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't make it right. Right. So I think another one of my missions, and I hope that we can do this, is to increase the Latino population and Latino participation in education, because we have so many issues dealing with you know, the like, again, graduating from Edison the way I did, that should have never happened, but it still happened, right? It still happens,
and it's still happening.
It's still happening, right? So it's like you know, my goal is one of the things I do. I'm on the board of LULAC, which is one of the oldest Latino education institutions in the country. So one of the things we're doing with LULAC is I sit on their board, but we're also working out a plan for kids. So like we're doing it with a small cohort. So like, for example, the kids that are members of LULAC, they will get services while in high school.
Okay.
You know, and LULAC has just an amazing service. They work mostly.
What does LULAC stand for?
LULAC is, I'll tell you, I have to look it up.
Because somebody's going to ask me, and I want to make sure that I'm able to give it to them.
It is the League of United Latin American Citizens.
League of United Latin American Citizens.
They're an amazing organization, and I'm just glad to be part of it. But, you know, they're going to be, as students become members of LULAC, they're going to get tutoring, which is this is going to be key to success. Is once these kids are tutored and they're prepared to pass that acuplacer test, or if they graduate high school with higher than a 3.0, they can go anywhere. They can choose. And that's the goal. You want to get students to a point where they can choose. They have. It's not just one option, it's many options, right? It's choice. You can't just, you know, and I think that's part of another big problem is our students don't have choices.
Yeah.
Right. Community college isn't even a choice for a lot of them. So we just need to, with LULAC, we're going to make that happen. We're starting to make that happen. So again, those are for the schools at Edison, Kensington, and Penn Treaty.
So, Dolores Davis, I see you're asking us to please include Black populations, please. If you have been watching this show, that is all I have been talking about at the Community College of Philadelphia are the Black populations. This is the first time I am having a conversation about not just the Black populations, but the Latino students. We have to look at all parts of our city, right? They're the ones that are making up the city and what's happening here. And so we want to make sure, while I have, and I mean ad nauseum, Gilberto, I have had more Black and brown students, Black students, and let me just be specific and clear, more Black students on this show from the Community College of Philadelphia. I've interviewed the president, I've interviewed some of the faculty members there, and this is the first time I'm having a conversation with anybody about the Latin students. They exist too, they are here, and like you say, many of them don't do the census. Don't do the census, and so their numbers are absolutely underrepresented, but they are here. And so we never want to make other people feel like they are not a part of what we're doing. So I just want to give you that clarity, Ms. Davis, so that you understand that we're always doing that with the Black students. We're just working with the Latino. Give me one solid example of how we can get a student through the door today, knowing what you know about the school, the population.
I've been in the admissions now for, I think it's going to go on 2 months, and I've learned, and I've been at the college for 28 years, and I'm learning so much. We have an amazing team of people that have kind of like embraced me, and I really, really appreciate that. So again, they're about to sneeze.
No, gesundheit.
I'm sorry. So there are a lot of moving parts. There's so many different issues that impact students. So let me just give you one example. What we're going to start doing is with LULAC and hopefully some of the schools they work with is when kids come in at the 9th grade, they need to know about community college. And I think that is true of the African American community. As soon as they hit high school, they need to know community college. The other way, there's also programs like dual enrollment. You can be in high school and college at the same time, and you can earn.
That's happening. I see a lot of black students
Exactly.
there. Although, Gilberto, I wish more students, let's just say this, more students were able to access the dual enrollment, because it gives them the opportunity to see how college is run, that by the time they get to 12th grade, not only are they have access to already having a 2-year degree, but they already have a leg up in what the system is like and what is required of them.
Yep, exactly. And you know what, like I'll just, and I have to say, and I know some people get mad at me when I say this, we need a Latino agenda, just as we need a black agenda. Because you know what, the only way and you know what, look at the violence in North Philly is the African American community and the Latino community. It is our youth together that are suffering all of the inadequacies and all the shortfallings of all these institutions. But the only way to get an agenda is to speak to the folks at the ground level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
If we don't talk to the people, and I'm not talking about the $1 million nonprofits that exist all over the city that.
So I'm gonna need you to come back on so we can talk about the nonprofits. Not today.
Yeah, I'll zip it up on that one.
No, I'm not zipping
up.
But
anyway,
because I'm coming for them. Yep.
So it's about meeting the community where they are. So that's part of that first step. So just the moment these kids hit high school, we have to start working with them. We have to start giving them those options and giving them tours at CCP, getting them the tutors. Like, for example, like one of the things, and I attribute community college to saving my life, because when, you know, and I maybe mentioned this to Lorraine before. If she didn't, I'm sorry. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But, you know, I wasn't the greatest kid when I was little. You know, and I was getting into a lot of trouble, and so many things happened to me with violence and drugs and stuff that when I finally just was pushed into CCP, it just opened up a new world for me. And if it weren't for that, I truly would not be here today.
Yes.
So community college can really save the lives of the Black and Latino youth that are hurting in Philly.
We're going to have to, because this segment is almost over, but here's something that I'd like you to do. If you can identify a couple of Latino students in North Philly, let's get back together on Zoom and have a conversation with them about what the barriers are. I think the listening audience needs to see and understand what their barriers are and how it may differ while we're living in the same community, how it may differ depending on what your cultural norms are within the community. Can we do that?
I'm going to hook you up with your folks, with Shane Whaler from LULAC. And Franklin Munoz.
Okay.
And you guys take it from there. I mean, the students there they're doing such amazing work. And they're just one organization that I think other organizations can really learn a lot from.
Agreed. Thank you so much, Gilberto Gonzalez. Congratulations in your new role. We'll be talking more, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. This is so good. I listen, man, these people. So I love you all on the WURD listening audience, because you always hold our feet to the fire, making sure that we are talking about what impacts us as a community. And so the Black and Brown agenda is one that we have to consistently talk about. And I am guilty of, I say Black and brown all the time, but I mostly talk to Black folks, right? I either talk to Black folks or white folks, and I don't spend a lot of time talking to Latinos, and they're part of who we are. And if we're going to make progress with each other, then we have to start crossing the divide and stop sitting in different spots. And so I'm trying to do that a little bit at a time to see how that works out. I'm sure it won't be popular for some people, but here we are. WURD Radio is a devoted team of hosts, producers, and staff doing everything we can to serve Black people. As other media outlets grapple with trying to discover the needs of the Black community, WURD puts those needs front and center, and we fight for them every day, all day. As we enter the final week week of Black History Month, we know that our work is a part of that history, a history of Black voices that refused to be silenced. We honor and call the names of those who have made Black history. There's Mary McLeod Bethune, James Baldwin, Garrett Morgan, Cody Anderson, Dr. Lomax Reese, Elijah McCoy, Malcolm X, and the list goes on. But how are you making Black history? This is one of the most challenging times for us, and we need you to stand there. For $90 per year, $1.73 per week, or 24 cents per day, you can take action. Let us know what we do, that what we do matters to you. Sign up today at wordradio.com/join now and type in the name of a person in Black history that you honor or the host that sent you and be heard. For more information, go to wordradio.com/join now. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Well, the kids are in bed. Time for a little grown-up quiet time.
What do you mean quiet time? It's your birthday. We're about to party.
Haha, funny. It's gonna have to be a you and me party this year. You know we can't have anybody over.
Well, your mom and dad are coming from Florida. Sis will be here from California. Oh, and a couple of old friends from just about everywhere will be showing up. They should all be here about now.
COVID-19 has changed the way we do things, for now. But social distancing doesn't mean you can't be social. COVID-19 doesn't have to keep us apart. Friends and family are finding new ways to be together, especially with how hard it's hitting the Black community. Vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we still have to be down with slowing the spread. Keep a 6-foot distance, wear a mask, and avoid indoor social gatherings. Learn more about vaccines and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you are just joining us, you're about to see some beautiful melanated skin on the screen, honey. This is where we're going to have G. Lamar Stewart, Chief of the Community Engagement Unit at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, Melanie Nelson, Executive Director of Northwest Victim Services, Robert Listenby. I sat beside you a couple of times. You are the man. I remember you. All right, I'm going to tell you about that one time when we have a minute. First Assistant District Attorney. And so they're here to talk about the press advisory that they did yesterday. And let me just introduce them all to you a little bit. G. Lamar Stewart, Chief of the Community Engagement Unit at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, was born and raised in Germantown and North Philadelphia. He was in the U.S. Army, served in the Philadelphia Police Department for a little while, and is now over at the District Attorney's Office, which he joined in 2019. He also serves as senior pastor of the historic Taylor Memorial Baptist Church. I sometimes forget you're a pastor, G. Oh, Lord. And so let me move on. Robert Bob Listenby, First Assistant District Attorney at the Philadelphia Office of the District Attorney, was chosen by the Krasner administration to bring his depth and breadth of expertise and experience working at the local, state, and national levels on juvenile and criminal justice issues, and that's why I know him. Please so Lord, his career is long and distinguished. I mean, it's long, so I can't even read all of that today. And then we have Melanie P. Nelson, who's the Executive Director for Northwest Victim Services, where she's devoted more than 27 years of her life. Melanie began volunteering at Northwest Victim Services when she was in high school. She has served in various volunteer roles, including a courtroom volunteer, fundraising committee member, community outreach member, and on and on. On June 23rd, 2014, she was elected to serve as the Executive Director for the Northwest Victim Services. And since becoming the executive director there, she understands the importance of not working normal business hours and not being desk bound. I cannot wait to have this conversation. Today, we're talking about an update on the investigation into the mass shooting that occurred last Wednesday at the Broad and Olney Transportation Center. Yes, Black people. Yes. Yeah, let me just come on over here and say hello to you all, because I know you saw me dancing on the commercial. Good afternoon, all of you.
Good afternoon.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited because, you know.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, G. Lamar Stewart. Sir, how are you?
Auntie, I'm doing well.
You were going to call me Auntie. I've known G for a while. And in fact, G is one of the very few people who have had the pleasure of cutting his legs at my dinner table and eating Sunday dinner. So we have known him for a while now and have loved him up in our family. So listen, let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? Something happened at the Olney Transportation Center last week, almost a week ago now, where several people were shot. One person died?
No fatalities.
No fatalities. Well, praise Black Jesus. Okay, so tell me what you all have been doing. What are the next steps so that we can let people know from the district attorney's office?
Well, I'll start here. First, thank you, Andrea, for having us on today. And unfortunately, we're here to talk about a very tragic situation. And our offices, our work are in collaboration with the police department around the investigation, but also the victim services response to this mass shooting at Broad and Olney. Our hearts and thoughts are with each of the victims as they are beginning their process of healing, but not just with the victims, with their families, as well as with the community at large. This gun violence issue in Philadelphia is really out of hand. And, we're doing all that we can as an office, working with our colleagues and partners, both in government as well as in law enforcement, but also more importantly with victim service agencies such as Northwest, led by Melanie Nelson, as well as our faith-based partners and our community partners to address this issue from a public health perspective and dealing with it as an emergency, which it is. And so that being said, I would just briefly talk about yesterday's press conference, and I'll hand it over to Bob Listenby to talk more about the work we're doing in collaboration with the police department as we're addressing this specific issue. But every Monday, DA Krasner and our entire executive team, we've been hosting these weekly press conferences since the beginning of the year. And the focus is highlighting, is really a two-part focus. One is to give a gun crimes update to the community, letting the community know what our office is doing to address gun violence, both from a prosecution perspective, our partnerships, both in government, in law enforcement, and in the community, and then what we're doing from a prevention perspective. Because at the end of the day, how we address the cycle of gun violence is not just prosecution, as we will do that, but also addressing this from a more comprehensive and holistic perspective, and focusing on prevention and working with community-based organizations that are really doing the work to prevent crime. So we give a gun crimes update, and then we highlight one of our units within the DA's office that's doing amazing work. So yesterday, we looked, of course, we had our gun crimes update, and we talked about the mass shooting at Broad and Olney. And then we talked about our victim witness services unit that's led by an amazing Black woman named Keziah Cameron. And her team they're doing amazing work here at the DA's office. And so I'll pass it over to Bob here. He'll talk a little bit more about the investigation.
So before we go over to Mr. Listenby, who you are mentoring people that I know very well, sir. And they speak very highly of you. So it's an honor to even have you here on this radio show to talk to you, honestly, because your work precedes you, even though we have not seen, those of us who are lay people on the other side have not seen much of you. It's a good to know that you're there doing what you do. I learned today that you guys will be on every week, every Tuesday, to give us an update. So that was from my producer Brianna. So I appreciate it, because every week people ask, what's going on in the community? Why is the gun violence so high? And so thank you all of you. And Miss Melanie, somebody's already on Facebook saying that you're her brother's husband, you're the husband, you're the wife of some cousin or something, they love you. Let me just. They love you. That's just the bottom line and all of that. So, Mr. Listenby, so after thanking all of you, just let us know now from your perspective in the district attorney's office, what is your role and what will you be doing?
Specifically at the press conference yesterday, the Philadelphia Police Department and SEPTA Police Department are taking the lead in addressing the problems at Broad and Olney. And so they're completing their investigations. Once they complete their investigations, if there are folks who are arrested, then they will bring them to us and we'll prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law as thoroughly and aggressively as we possibly can. Folks know that there were 2 people who were arrested near the scene of the crime. Those 2 people were found to have guns on them. They were arrested because they had the guns on them, and they're being charged with gun crimes. There's been no determination yet that the folks who had the guns on them were connected with the shootings. The guns are being examined to determine if they've been fired, but as of yesterday, we could not say definitively that those 2 people were involved in the shootings. So we don't know any more about that just yet.
Okay.
In terms of what happened yesterday, I want to just come very briefly, then turn it over to Melanie, because she and the Northwest Victim Services, they were on the scene, hopped to it, and worked directly with the victims of this crime. And so they're the ones who really are an extension of the District Attorney's Office. We provide funding for 11 nonprofit agencies, Northwest Victim Services being one, just partial funding. And they then are on the front lines dealing with a lot of the crimes. When there are homicides, we have our CARES unit. Our CARES unit goes to before the pandemic, they went to the homes of the families where there have been homicides. Our CARES coordinators are people who are survivors of gun violence and in most cases homicides. So they have a tremendous amount of compassion, experience with the trauma and the difficulties of a homicide in a family. They often go to the hospitals where the victims are and go meet with the family. Sometimes they go to the morgues. They help arrange the funerals and so forth. So they're very active in that aspect. But this is a new program that was created under the Krasner administration. We're doing our best to perfect it, and it may become a model for the nation down the road. But back to what's happening here in Philly, directly involving this case, I just want to say 2 things. One, our Victim Services Unit strives to help victims and witnesses understand their rights under the law and exercise those rights, and while receiving a compassionate and respectful treatment. We are responsible for and committed to advocating for the rights of these victims and making sure that their voices are heard. That's one of the most important things that we do. This is a complex criminal justice system. It's very difficult to navigate, and we try and be there at every step of the way to try and make sure that we can help victims get through it. Now, Melanie and her team provide a different kind of service. I'd like to turn it over to her because they do a fantastic job. I've worked with her for the last 2.5 years since I first met her here at the DA's office. And she's been working with the DA's office for many, many, many years. So I'd like to turn it over to her so she can tell you what actually happened.
So before I go over to Ms. Nelson, because I can't wait to talk to her, let me ask you this. Is there a place where people can call in and turn in people who they know created these crimes? Because I interviewed Commissioner Outlaw yesterday. She says we need people to call in. Is there better yet, is there a safe space for people who would call in and turn in folks? Because folks are afraid that there will be retribution if they call and, as we would say in Jamaica, drop a dime, on somebody, that their lives are then in jeopardy. So is there a safe space for those folks who may call in and say, I know it was Pookie in them and that the gun is in the laundry closet underneath somebody's size 10 shoe? You know what I mean? Is there a safe space for people to do that?
G. Lamar, you want to tackle that issue?
Certainly. I will certainly provide a number for you, Andrea, that we can put into the comment section, both on Facebook and for the listening audience. We encourage people to, of course, if they want to contact the police department's hotline, they can. If they don't, they can certainly contact the DA's office, our community engagement unit, or they can contact our victim service partners, our external partners like Northwest Victim Services, or if there's a faith leader, whether that's a pastor or an imam that's in the community. We're partnered with about 175 faith institutions in the city that we're meeting with every quarter, just talking to them about what's happening in our community, supporting their work. And so there have been instances where faith leaders have helped to walk both victims through the process, as well as alleged perpetrators who don't want to walk that process by themselves or to turn themselves in alone. We've had faith leaders step up, or community leaders or activists that stepped up. And so we understand that sometimes there are people that just need some support, no matter what side they're on. And we're here to help them with that process. And so I encourage contacting a faith leader, contacting an activist, contacting a community-based organization such as Northwest Victim Services, or they can contact our community engagement unit, and we can make sure that they're connected.
Okay, and give me that number, please.
Yes, 215-686-9947. 215-686-9947.
Okay, I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. Miss Nelson, how are you, madam?
I am well, and I am loving your energy.
I'm like Tigger.
You are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I'm hearing about the Northwest Victim Services. Tell us a little bit about what you do and what was your role that day of the shooting at Broad and Olney.
So Northwest Victim Services, we're located right in Germantown. All of our services are free. We help victims of crime with unpaid medical bills, lost time from work, funeral expenses, counseling, relocation, child care, loss of support. And we also partner with the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, where we go to court with our victims as well. So pre-COVID, in the courtroom 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And my sister, I heard what you said very loud and clear. There are times, and there are many times, when people do not want to identify themselves, but they've seen the shooter, because retaliation is real. Right. And we see this when we go to court all the time, where our victims are afraid to attend court. So as far as the Broad and Olney shooting, Northwest Victim Services, we reach out every day. We receive information of all the crimes that have occurred in the Northwest section of Philadelphia. So we work with the 5th, 14th, 35th, and 39th police districts. So every day we receive reports of all of the crimes that have occurred. We have a great relationship with Einstein Hospital, and we have a great relationship with Temple Hospital. So they contact me directly. My cell phone is always on. All of my victims have my cell phone, and they can my cell phone number, and they can contact me at any time. So we sent information out to the victims to let them know that we are here for them. If they have any unpaid medical bills, therapy, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge for the victims, and that's also going to be huge for the witnesses that was out at Broad and Olney, that was going to catch the bus, and their lives have changed, just like these victims. Their lives have changed forever. So anyone can contact me that is in need of services. Those witnesses that we were not able to capture at that time, they can contact me directly on my cell at 267-808-0350.
Okay.
And any witness, anybody who is in need of help. But we want, Northwest Victim Services wants to be that beacon of a light within the Northwest section of Philadelphia. So any way that we can help anyone who is affected by crime, that's what we do. And again, all of our services are free.
All right, I am going to take a quick break, and then I'm coming back to ask you all a few more questions. This is amazing. If we're doing this every week, I suspect that we will be able to help as many people as we possibly can around this city of Philadelphia, right? That are feeling bereft, feeling like they don't have an option, feeling like nobody cares about them. But here we are. These services are available. My mouth fell to the floor. You talked about unpaid medical bills, funeral services. Who knew all these things existed? I didn't. Right? And I consider myself to be someone who was well learned and know what's going on in this city. So imagine all the people that are listening now. 267-808-0350. If you were a witness to what happened out at Broad Street or Broad and Olney last week, and you want to get some support services, counseling, that kind of stuff, because we tend to forget the trauma that is inflicted upon people. Hold on one second. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, okay? You are listening to The Source. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Looking for an exciting and well-paying new career opportunity? MCAP is a free manufacturing career accelerator program. In just 7 weeks, learn new career skills, earn industry certifications, and connect to manufacturing companies who are hiring. To see if MCAP is right for you, call 215-770-7101. That's 215-770-7101. MCAP is brought to you by Drexel University's Goodwin College of Professional Studies in partnership with EDSI Incorporated. MCAP is an equal opportunity program. Diverse candidates, including women and people of color, are strongly encouraged to apply.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Tune in on Thursday, February 25th at 7 p.m. when EcoWord will partner with New Voices for Reproductive Justice for a special live broadcast of Black Women, Green Future, Environmental Justice, and the New Political Landscape, co-hosted by Sincerely Sarita. Tune in Thursday, February 25th at 7 p.m. See you then.
Brought to you by Comcast.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, we have folks from the District Attorney's Office and from the Northwest Victim Services, Melanie Nelson, who is the leader, the CEO and director, who is, I swear, is doing everything over there at one point. Robert Listenby, who was at the District Attorney's Office, and G. Lamar Stewart, both of them fine, upstanding gentlemen. I can vouch for G. Lamar Stewart and both Mr. Robert Listenby, because, and listen, Mr. Listenby, somebody wrote on here, you are a true king, heaven sent about our people and offering solutions. See that? They know all these things were going on, right? See, when you do your work, people done it. So let me say this to you. Let me see. We had a call. I was just asking if they had a question. Michael is checking with them. This work is hard work. You can't get into this if you don't truly care about people and what happens to them. What you saw at what we heard about at Broad and Olney last week is something that's consistently happening around the city, day after day after day. Where do you find your spaces of release so that you can continue to get up and do what you do, to prosecute, to help the families, to reach out and support the victims, to get people to turn themselves in, to partner with the police department? Where do you find your source of strength and energy? Because I don't want people to think that you're all machines just out here just doing what you do. They need to know that you're human beings who are impacted by this stuff, the work that you do every day.
I'd like to take a crack at that first. I ask myself that question from time to time, but working with the Krasner administration, I'm very sure about a few things. First, DA Krasner has set out to fundamentally change Philadelphia's criminal justice system and the juvenile justice system. And by fundamental, I mean, he means to get rid of the endemic racism that's a part of the system. Let me give you one clear example. For so long, many of our Black children in our juvenile justice system have been sent off to placements, residential placements, far from their homes. Some cases out in Western Pennsylvania, some of them were sent to Texas. I visited these young people in these places. The cost of these facilities runs for about $100,000 a year to up to $200,000 a year per child. We, under the Krasner administration, working with other partners, have been able to reduce the number of children in out-of-home placement. From when we started, it was 608 young people in out-of-home placement. And at the beginning of this year, it was down to 109. So we've reduced it by almost 500 kids, which saves probably over $50 million. That money hopefully will go back to the community in different ways. Now, these young people have gotten out. They didn't just get out and go back to the community. When they go back to the community, first of all, they've been held accountable, and we try and transition them back to their homes in a safe and productive way, to schools where they can continue their education, to training facilities where they can get learn skills so they can get jobs, and to different kinds of circumstances where they can adjust to living with their families in a constructive and positive way. So that's one big change that has occurred under DA Krasner. We've also reduced the future years of incarceration very dramatically. So in the past, our community was just sort of lost so many young men to the prison system. And now, even though we hold them accountable, we don't send them away as long as they used to be sent. And that, we hope, will help save our community by keeping our men there as role models to the community, both men and women, so we don't have any selective set of laws for men and not women. So I think it's really important to recognize that. A lot of folks have asked me if I believe that the young people that we are letting out and trying to get back out into the streets and holding for shorter periods of time, if they're causing the crimes. I have no evidence that's been brought to me about the juvenile justice system in particular, that those young people who are on probation or given second chances through diversion are out there committing a lot of crimes. I have no evidence of that. If somebody has that, please bring it to my attention, because we work very carefully to try and make sure that they transition back to the community in a constructive and productive way. We have case managers. We work with my good friend who used to have the same job I have, George Mosey, who's over with the George and I are best friends. We work closely together, working with young people for about 25 years, 20 years, from 2000 up to 2013 or so. And we were able to reduce the number of young people in the system, get them better education. George is now working on case management for our office, for the DA's office, with his organization. So we're trying to work with as many partners in the community. The big shift is, instead of having these big organizations way far away from home, we're trying to develop a lot of community-based organizations to divert our kids back to. So we pay our own people in the community to help look after our own children. So that's what we're emphasizing doing.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. And we learned a lot from that. G. Lamar, well, let me let ladies first. Hold on. Miss Nelson, your turn.
So as for me, what keeps me going, and yes, this is hard work, but I don't do 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. What keeps me going is that mother who lost her child, who says to me at the end of a call, I love you, because she knows that I'm genuine in what I'm doing. This is not a job for me. It's my passion. It's my career. So I don't feel like I'm working, even though sometimes I need to do self-care and I don't. But it's those victims that give me that satisfaction when I know I am able to help them. I'll tell you about a young man who was abducted, Jamel Bullock, and he was actually on my show, and he was abducted in 2018, but it was mistaken identity. They zip tied him and they poured gasoline on him and they put him in the back of a car and they set him on fire. That was in 2018. I still keep in contact with my victims. I am not a one and done agency, and I let all of them know that. He did relocate, but he was only able to relocate 3 blocks away from where the incident happened. And he called me just recently and said, this is getting too much for me. He said, I got a new phone number, but I needed to find my angel. And he contacted me. He said, I need you to help me move. He did receive money from victims' compensation, which was almost $7,000. I can't go down that avenue again, but I reached out to another sister agency that I collaborate with. They're going to help him with his moving costs to another apartment and move this victim. So I am not a one and done. So him calling me his angel, that's my reward. That's what keeps me going every day, all day. I am boots on the ground. So I am working with victims every day, all day. And just the satisfaction of knowing that I can bring them a little bit of light is what keeps me going every day.
My sister, you are Black history personified. I just need you to know. Seriously. I mean, it's folks like you that I want to talk to more often, you know, folks that are in the background, that are consistently doing the work, creating the spaces to help get, you know, we hear all the bad stuff. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Mr. Listenby, what you described was a system that's actually coming under control by helping so many more young people that would ordinarily be in the system, which is why when you look at the data about crime of all the major cities in the country, Philadelphia is not at the top 10. And this is why. This is why. But folks need to be aware. So I'm so grateful to all of you. All right, G. Lamar Stewart, it's your turn. What keeps you going? Other than these dinners.
That was going to be my first thing that I mentioned. I will say I stand with Melanie on this, and I've known her for about a decade now through our church board. I preach for her father every fourth Sunday of June for their youth Sundays. But this activism advocacy work is really a calling. It's not just a job. This is about purpose. And so the work is what keeps me going. I agree with Melanie. This is not a 9-to-5 whatsoever. Most of the work that's done is done after hours, is the work that people don't see. It's the phone calls. I was just sitting in a meeting with some activists here from Philadelphia, and one of the things that they were talking about is how many people won't call the normal hotlines or call a police district or call the DA's office, but they'll call someone that works within that system that they trust. And so the reason Melanie's phone is always ringing off the hook, the reason that my phone is always ringing off the hook, the reason that Bob's cell phone is ringing off the hook is because when people find someone they trust within the system, they're going to call you and call you and call you. We respond to so many crisis incidents. Every young person that's shot in this city, myself or someone from my unit is responding to that scene. When I think about Samaj Obranti, the 10-year-old who was shot just a year and a half ago as he was walking home from school at Frankfurt and Torresdale. When I think about Siani Smalls, a 16-year-old who was getting off the bus at 22nd and Sedgley, just trying to make it home. Unfortunately, she did not make it. When I think about Zamar Jones, the 7-year-old who was shot in West Philadelphia last summer, and we've been supporting those families and their families each and every day since those incidents. That's the stuff that keeps me going every day. When I think about the one-stop job and resource hub that our office hosts every first Thursday, and the amount of people we've been able to get connected to employment. In fact, 2 of the individuals we met through One Stop work for our community engagement unit, Adriana Bearfield and Kavan Green. We are committed to helping people, and so the work is what keeps me going each and every day.
Melanie Nelson, Robert Listenby, and G. Lamar Stewart. I want to thank all 3 of you. Are all 3 of you going to be on with me every week? Because this would be nice.
So every week, Andrea, you will have whoever is being highlighted from the press conference. Okay. Those individuals will be on the show on Tuesday. So
tell them I want them to be as nice as these 2 darling people that I talked to today. They
listen, we only
as bring good as these folks.
We only bring the best to Auntie Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you in these streets. I want to thank you all for being here. Ms. Nelson, I'd like to get to know you better. Mr. Listenby, I've heard so much about you. I'd like to make a better acquaintance with you because you are well respected, sir. Well respected. And G. Lamar Stewart, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right in the community. I love you all. Thank you so, so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I just want to let you know that this just in, Tiger Woods was in a major car accident. They had to use the jaws of life to pull him out, and we are not sure what his status is. But I'm going to petition Black Jesus that we cannot take another one of our people dying out of here. Kobe Bryant left in early 2020. We're just going to pray to the ancestors and pray to God and pray to whoever it is that you lift up in the spirit realm to make sure that Tiger Woods is okay. Can't deal right now. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Well, the kids are in bed. Time for a little grown-up quiet time.
What do you mean quiet time? It's your birthday. We're about to party.
Haha, funny. It's gonna have to be a you and me party this year. You know we can't have anybody over.
Well, your mom and dad are coming from Florida. Sis will be here from California. Oh, and a couple of old friends from just about everywhere will be showing up. They should all be here about now.
COVID-19 has changed the way we do things, for now. But social distancing doesn't mean you can't be social. COVID-19 doesn't have to keep us apart. Friends and family are finding new ways to be together, especially with how hard it's hitting the Black community. Vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we still have to be down with slowing the spread. Keep a 6-foot distance, wear a mask, and avoid indoor social gatherings. Learn more about vaccines and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
WURD Radio celebrates Black History Month with Black Artist Story 365. Brought to you by Keystone First and Commonwealth Charter Academy.
Welcome to Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. Get into this episode where we explore the art and artistry of revolutionary poet Amiri Baraka. Part 1. Everett Leroy Jones was born in Newark, New Jersey. His father, Colt Leverett Jones, worked as a postal worker and lift operator. His mother, Anna Louise Russ, was a social worker. Jazz was something Baraka got interested in as a kid. He wanted to be just like Miles Davis. The influence of jazz can be seen throughout his work later in life. For college, he won a scholarship to Rutgers University in New Brunswick in 1951, but transferred in 1952 to Howard University. Before Amiri Baraka was Amiri Baraka, he was Leroy Jones. And at the time, Leroy moved to Manhattan, where in addition to attending Columbia University and the New School, he became a prominent artist in the Greenwich Village scene. In 1961, Leroy published his first major collection of poetry, preface to a 20-volume suicide note. His 1964 Obie Award-winning play, The Dutchman, which addressed racial tensions and American blacks' repressed hostility towards whites, gained him fame and acclaim. So that's it for this episode of Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. To hear more, tune in to The Envy McKee Show, Friday nights, 7 to 10 p.m., right here on WURD.
Black Artist Story 365 was brought to you by Keystone First and Commonwealth Charter Academy. The gold standard and market leader in public K-12 cyber education is proud to celebrate and recognize Black History Month. Visit ccaeducate.me to learn more.
Celebrating Black history all day, every day. Medgar Evers.
All we want you to do is keep going with this fight for freedom. When we get this unity, ladies and gentlemen, nothing can stop us.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Philadelphia, independent Black media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I was doing a little bit of research on Tiger Woods, who seems to have been having chronic back pain issues and has been medicating. And so, you know, we don't know what caused his car accident. Let's not go there. I just, you know, I'm thinking about that this is not his first one that he's had, and we want to make sure that he is all right. But Tiger Woods was just in a major car accident. They had to use the jaws of life to pull him out, and so we want to make sure that he is okay. Now, I'm moving on to my young people. The BET organization, founded by Richard Washington in 1994, bringing everybody together. BET is an organization designed to make our community a better place by providing life skills training to those that live within to take pride in themselves and their community. The activities of BET were implemented to bring about a better relationship between the following: youth and their teachers, parents, schools, and most of all themselves. BET focuses on developing the value of love, respect, and positive esteem. Because of BET's involvement, with the community, it is a very necessary and unique program that will show the community that in spite of the stereotype that has been placed on inner city youth, there is hope for a better tomorrow. So it's primarily a group of dedicated young people who live primarily in Philadelphia, but they serve youth and families from other areas, including Charleston, South Carolina, with the help of community volunteers and other support. Richard Washington, born and raised in Philadelphia, has dedicated himself to building lives and sharing his gifts of motivating, teaching, and empowering others to be their very best. Brandon McDonald is a 13-year-old young man who attends Amy Northwest Middle School. He is currently the BET Youth Council president, y'all, and host of BET Talks, which is a weekly community show. Brandon enjoys singing and making a positive difference. Thank you all for this detailed piece. I'm enjoying this. Ayana Dixon, 15 years old, in the 9th grade and student at Kappa High School. Ayana is a vocal major and and loves to read and listen to music. She is also the vice president of the BET Youth Council. Kyle Morris, 15 years old. You're going to see them start popping up in the screen. Attends Samuel Fells High School. Kyle loves fashion, which leads into his future aspirations to have a major influence on the fashion industry. When he is not volunteering with bringing everybody together, he enjoys reading and young adult novels. Shyla Bond, BET Youth Council member, 14 years old, 9th grader at Philadelphia High School for Girls. Nadir Mapp, 14 years old, 8th grader at Independence Charter School and will be attending George Washington Carver High School for Engineering and Science, member of Bringing Everybody Together Youth Council. Kavance Snaith, I hope I got that right, 14 years old, C.W. Henry Elementary School, loves politics, member of the BET Youth Council. He's also a write-in candidate for Auditor General. I can't wait to have this conversation. Let me just open this up because I need to see your beautiful faces. Hello. No. Now, I'm going to need y'all to open up your cameras. You are on live television. Let's go. Kyle, Kavance, let's go. Come on now. Come on. Hallelujah. Let's go. Thank you, Jesus. Because you all know Mother loves you. Got to make sure that the people can see you. How are you today?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. What's been going on since we last met? Remember, what was the homework that I gave you when we last met? Who's going to open up their microphones and talk to Mother?
Well, I remember last time we talked to you, wanted us to come up with a name that we would call on, have on our show, have on our show.
Okay, and what else did I ask you to do?
I'm gonna let somebody else answer the question.
You are the consummate politician, son. You punted and deflected that beautifully. He said, I'm gonna let somebody else answer that question. Does anybody else remember what I asked you to do? Now? Okay. Michael, is there a way that I can share? Is there a way you can enable me to share this screen, Michael? I want to show them something. If you can. So what have you all been up to in the last month since we met?
Well, this is my first time joining, so.
Hi, Kavance. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Just nothing but school and debate. I'm on the debate team.
You're on the debate team? Okay.
Yes.
All right. What else have you been up to?
Lacrosse practice.
Lacrosse practice. Okay, so you're able to go and do sports?
Yeah, outside only.
Okay, outside only. Okay, lacrosse practice. Okay. Yana and Kyle and Brandon, what have you been up to?
Well, I know for me personally, I've been keeping up with BET and school. You know, that's been taking a lot of my time, and you know, really focusing on what's going on around me, watching the news, paying attention, you know, looking out for stuff, you know.
Okay. All right. Okay. And Kyle?
I can pretty much piggyback off of what Brandon saying. BET in school, I'm focused on my grades a lot more. And learning more about geometry, to be very specific.
Okay.
But that's pretty much what's been taking my time.
Are you the one that's interested in fashion, Kyle?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to get Michael to get me to share my screen. I'm hoping he'll be allowed to let me do it. If you make me a co-host, Michael, I should be able to share the screen. But you have to do that for me. And Yana, what have you been up to?
Just school. I've been writing a lot lately and practicing the piano. Yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Richard Washington, your last but not least, what's going on your end?
Well, of course, they keep me busy. You know, as you can see, most of them have mentioned BT. And, you know, we have that Saturday show. And every Saturday this month, we had a focus on Black history. So, I mean, hopefully they can share with you some of the things that we've done to celebrate Black history. And now we're preparing for next month, which we want to include you in possibly because we have, you know, women's history, and we certainly celebrate you. And then because I also work in the schools, you know, we are, you know, contemplating, you know, getting situated to see whether pre-K to 2 will be returning. In the meantime, just preparing, you know, our young people and our adults and our parents, you know, for whatever is coming up next.
Okay, so Black History Month is winding down. I had to give a speech this morning to over 100 high school students and their teachers around Black History Month. And that PowerPoint presentation that I used, when I realized that I was going to have you on, you especially, Kyle, I wanted you to see some things because I talked about living a life of courage and what that looks like. I asked you, who would you love to have on BET? Did you come up with an answer? Oh, you gonna stop playing with me.
I did.
Who did you come up with?
I want to meet this fashion designer, Donatella Versace.
Versace. Okay. All right. Donatella Versace. Okay. I know who Versace is. And why Versace?
Because the whole brand just inspires me. I kind of want the kind of layout that they have.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems powerful to me. Like even just saying Versace, it's just it's
so Versace is a name that was used to trademark and to brand the product, right? Everybody knows that name. You say that name, everybody wants to buy it. But what is a name that you could come up with for your own brand? You know, you can be inspired by Versace, but I want you to think about coming up with your own brand. I want you to think about that. While you're thinking about that, Kyle, let me ask the rest of you, what have you learned in Black History Month? What happened during Black History Month for you for your BET programming?
Well, I know during the Black History Month, we had a lot of people, mostly people my age, young people, come onto the show. And basically how we would do it, kind of like we would play roles as the person. They would study the person, whoever they would want to. And they would come onto the show and they would portray the person and act as them. We would ask them questions, you know, questions that, you know, they should study for, you know, questions that, you know, not going to ask them personal questions that they don't know, but like things that are interesting and people might not know, or is a question that a lot of us have about that person, and get to know the person that they're portraying rather than just reading about them, bring them to life, you know?
Yeah, agreed. Kavance, what did you learn? Yeah,
Well,
you haven't opened up your mouth yet. Corner, but I'm gonna let Kavance go first. Go ahead, Kavance.
Okay. I recently just came back to BET Talks after taking like a long break. But in my school, we write biographies like every month throughout like whatever Heritage Month it is, like in September, LGBT. So we write about a project about LGBT, February, Black History Month, October, Native Americans. So this month I wrote about Harriet Tubman because, like, you know, throughout the years I wrote about Civil Rights and Women's History Month. I wrote about a lot of people, but this year I chose to write about Harriet Tubman. And I just learned a lot, even though like I learned her during grade school. Well, I still am in grade school, but I just decided to write a biography about her this month.
Okay. And what did you learn about Harriet Tubman that you want to share with us here on WURD?
Well, I mean, it's nothing like really new, but like I got to read and watch YouTube videos about it. So I watched her movie Harriet, which is I love it, plenty of times, and I thought she, like I didn't know, like I knew things about her, but like her husband thought she was dead, and he remarried. It was just a lot of things. I did not know she was married. I didn't know, but that's one thing.
And the trauma that she had to endure, not just in her own life, but really helping other people to get to freedom, right? How did that change your perspective once you learned that about Harriet Tubman?
It just made her seem like a goddess, because like it's just like as much things that she did, like I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't have that strength personally to lead a group of people during those times to cross the river through a country. During those times, it was just so dangerous, and she's just a strong, brave woman.
And it's called Living a Life with Courage. And it's one of the things we encourage you as young people to grasp onto. When you let the slightest fear, and people will try to dissuade you from doing the things that you want to do with your lives, but you cannot let the fear hold you bondage. So Yana, come on now, let's talk. What have you been up to, and what have you learned in Black History Month?
This Black History Month, I've learned a lot about, personally in my school, I've learned about like a lot of Black scientists, and I've rewatched Hidden Figures, And in BET Talks, like Brandon said, we did the thing with the some people come in and act like the Black historical figures. I learned a lot about Malcolm X and who was it? I can't remember. But y'all remember Miss V did, the lady Miss V did. I can't remember who she was, but
who was the lady Miss V did? Does anybody remember who the lady was that Miss V did?
Nina Simone.
Nina Simone, honey. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. So we have Ernie Bristow on the line who has a question. Do you know who Ernie Bristow is? Uh-oh. All right, Miss Ernie, how are you? Ernie? Ernie, can you hear us? Michael, I can't seem to get her in here. Oh, she hung up. Okay, she hung up. Okay. All right. So, Ernie, if you're hearing us, call back. So, this morning, it's so interesting that I have been giving these speeches all along for Black History Month. And so, I had a group of high school students. Every week, I had to do a group of high school students. And every week, or 2 or 3 times a week, I had to talk to students from university and colleges. So, I did 2 short PowerPoint presentations to talk about leading a life of courage from their lens. Oh, she's back. All right. Come on, Ernie. How are you?
I'm fine. How you doing, Andrea? I'm sorry. This technology. I think we got disconnected, but I'm back.
It's all right. That's all right, honey. What's the question that you have for them?
Hi, young people.
Good afternoon, Ernie.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. And yourself? Always good to hear your voice.
Oh, same here. Same here. So I wanted to come on because I did hear you all was talking about the different ones that we are familiar with with Black history, right? A lot of times we do our research, and I'm talking to the young people. We do our research on Martin Luther King. We do our research on Harriet Tubman. But my question to you, and anyone can answer it, who do you consider beyond those valuable people in our lives, outside of those characters, who else do you consider to honor in Black history for this Black History Month? Is there anyone you can think of besides the norm? Because we're so used to the norm.
Is there anyone you can think of outside of the normal folks? Who, Cavans?
I say John Lewis. I love late Congressman John Lewis. I love reading about him because he was just as great as a lot of others. Some people don't know him. I mean, a lot of them do, but he was just as important as Martin Luther King, and I just truly honor him because he went through a lot of things and he did good trouble.
Did good trouble. All right. Who else? Who else could think of something? Brandon?
Somebody that really inspires me is Octavius Cato.
Octavius Cato.
You know,
okay.
He was a martyr in a way. You know, he sacrificed himself. His death was one of the leading factors, and during the Civil War, and actually really changed the tide, and it really inspired a lot of people to fight and stand up to know and notice what was going on, and to really side with us, to really push for our freedom. And his death, sparked a new life for us. So I feel like he really inspires me.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Well, Kyle and Yana, hold on. Let me ask Kyle and Yana. Kyle and Yana, what do you have for us?
One person that I've learned about recently in Black history is a person I did a project on in science. Her name is Dr. Gladys West, and basically she helped to create the GPS. And I learned that she worked there for 42 years, helping create the GPS, and her achievements went unnoticed until 2018. And I just felt like she was really such a powerful person, because she created something that we all need today in modern times. So,
wow. What is the lesson you learned from Dr. West, though? Gladys
I learned that not to give up, because she is so strong for working for 42 years, not getting any recognition, and still continuing to do what she believed in. And that honestly just made me want to keep doing what I believe in, because she's real strong for nuts.
Yes. That's incredible. 42 years of being unrecognized, and while other people were making money because they were giving that credit to other people, which is why we talk about trademarking your stuff. I need to get a trademark attorney at one of your shows to talk about trademarking your property, so that people can't take your intellectual property away from you that you created. Kyle, you're talking about developing a clothing line, and you're coming up with a name. Trademark that name, even if we've got to help you to do the trademarking. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because that's how we end up losing out on the quality and the product of our work. Now, Sheepa's probably working for an organization that says you work for us, and so we're not giving you any credit for the work that you do, right? Whatever your intellectual property is, we're taking it and we're using it. So who was the person for you, Kyle, that's not the normal Black History person?
Well, it's kind of crazy because I was going to say the same person that Ayana said. But I can't really think of anybody else off the top of my head besides that person.
Okay.
And what's crazy is, as you said, there are a lot of people that are like the normal people that you relearn about every year.
Yes.
So I do kind of want to get into other people that didn't get the same light as Dr. Martin Luther King or Harriet Tubman and everybody that's really well known.
Yes. Brandon, did you give us one yet?
Yeah. Yes.
You gave us. All right. So I'm going to ask you to hold on. Ernie, do you have any other questions for them?
Who all was outside for our BET Martin Luther King Day of Service? Who was outside that day in the Logan schoolyard?
I was.
So Brandon was, and Kyle was.
Okay. I think you had the question of, do y'all know who Miss Ernie Bristow was? So when y'all was out there cleaning, I did a live video with y'all. Do y'all remember that? And I said to okay.
Yeah, so now you can see the little light bulbs going off. Now they know who they're talking to.
So I know because we're dealing with the mask right now, and so I just wanted to bring that out. That's who I am. I've been a part of BET for over 25 years, and my children has been a part of BET, every last one of them. So I just wanted to bring that out to the young people, that you are a part of Black history, and when you do things in your community, you are just as important as us adults. So I just wanted to encourage you all to continue to do great things in our community, okay?
Oh, thank you, Miss Ernie. That was good. Thank you for calling in. They appreciate it, and I appreciate you for calling in, okay?
Likewise. Thank you, Ernie.
All right. See you around.
Hold on.
Bye-bye.
All right now. All right, hold on. Let me do this so I can we can take a quick break. Don't hang up, guys. I'm going to show something to you when we come back from the break. Kyle especially, I wanted him to see it. And we're going to talk about living a life of courage. This works out perfectly. Let me just pull this up and do this, and then we can take a quick break. WURD Radio is a devoted team of hosts, producers, and staff doing everything we can to serve Black people. As we enter the final week of Black History Month, we know that our work is a part of history, a history of Black voices that refuse to be silenced. We honor and call the names of those who have made Black history. There's Mary McLeod Bethune, James Baldwin, Garrett Morgan, Elijah McCoy, Malcolm X, and the list goes on. This is one of the most challenging times in history, and we need you to stand with us. For $90 per year, that is $1.73 per week, or 24 cents per day, you can take action. Let us know that what we do matters to you. Sign up today at wordradio.com/join now and type in the name of a person in Black history that you honor or the host that sent you, and be heard. For more information, go to wordradio.com/join now. Hold on, guys. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Looking for an exciting and well-paying new career opportunity? MCAP is a free manufacturing career accelerator program. In just 7 weeks, learn new career skills, earn industry certifications, and connect to manufacturing companies who are hiring. To see if MCAP is right for you, call 215-770-7101. That's 215-770-7101. MCAP is brought to you by Drexel University's Goodwin College of Professional Studies in partnership with EDSI Incorporated. MCAP is an equal opportunity program. Diverse candidates, including women and people of color, are strongly encouraged to apply.
WURD Radio celebrates Black History Month with Black Artist Story 365. Brought to you by AARP, Thomas Jefferson, and New Voices for Reproductive Justice.
Welcome to Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. Get into this episode where we explore the art and artistry of Trinidadian American, Tony Award-winning actor, voice actor, singer, dancer, composer, choreographer, costume designer, visual artist, and director, Jeffrey Holder. Part 1. King star Uncle Jeffrey was an August Leo, born Jeffrey Lamont Holder of Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, the youngest of 5 children of Louise de France and Arthur Holder, who had immigrated from Barbados. Bosco Holder taught Jeffrey painting and dancing and recruited him to join a small folkloric dance troupe he had formed, the Holder Dancing Company. Bosco was 16, listen, and Jeffrey was 7. Okay? When Bosco left for London, Jeffrey was left in charge of the dance company as its director and lead performer. Soon after arriving in Brooklyn, he joined the Catherine Dunham's dance school, where he taught folkloric forms for 2 years. From 1955 to 1956, he performed with the Metropolitan Opera Ballet as a principal dancer. He left the ballet to make his Broadway debut in the Harold Arlen and Truman Capote musical, House of Flowers. While working on House of Flowers, he met Alvin Ailey, with whom he later worked extensively, and his future wife and muse, Carmen de Lavallade. After the show closed, he starred in an all-black production of Waiting for Godot in 1957. As a choreographer, because you know he's got all them lists of things that he was masterful at, Holder created dance pieces for many companies, including Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater, for which he provided choreography, music, and costumes for Prodigal Prince in 1967, and the Dance Theater of Harlem, for which he provided choreography, music, and costumes for Douglas in 1974. He was director, costume designer, and choreographer, as we mentioned, in The Wiz in 1974. And in 1978, he directed and choreographed the Broadway musical Timbuktu. So that's it for this episode of Black Artist Story 365. My name is Envy McKee. To hear more, tune in to The Envy McKee Show, Friday nights, 7 to 10 p.m., right here on WURD.
Black Artist Story 365 was brought to you by AARP Pennsylvania, Thomas Jefferson, and New Voices for Reproductive Justice.
America's kids are returning to class, in school and at home. And this year, learning is especially tough on students who already struggle with poverty, emotional trauma, and other barriers.
That's where our organization, Communities in Schools, can help. For years, we've had caring adults inside schools, helping these students stay in school.
And now, we are taking our work beyond the school walls, tutoring, mentoring, and counseling students, providing resources for at-home learning,
delivering meals, providing household supplies, connecting kids with online classrooms, and using technology to maintain the one-on-one relationships we know can transform the lives of students and their families.
We are doing whatever it takes to make sure all kids have the opportunity to learn and succeed.
Communities in Schools, going wherever we are needed to help those students who are most in need thrive.
To see how you can help kids succeed, visit communitiesinschools.org. That's communitiesinschools.org.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have on the line with me all the community people, the students, and the gentlemen that formed Bringing Everybody Together, BET. Richard Washington is their leader. We have Yana, Kyle, Nevin, who just popped up like Jesus wept tears. We're not just in the middle of an interview, Nevin. I love it, though. Kavan Smith and Brandon. And so last month when we were talking to them, I was explaining to them what it is like to take a risk, how to live a life in a fearless way without courage. To this morning, I was in the middle of doing a presentation with high school students, and I'm going to share something with you. And now everybody in WURD is going to watch because, it's on live. But I want to show you something. Let me share. Let me see if I can share this. Okay. So see this? Can you see this? I'm hoping you can see the screen, right? This was me in with the United States Air Force Thunderbirds in 2014 when they called me and I went on a flight with them and broke the sound barrier. I was in my 40s when that happened. Talk about living a life with courage, right? I tell you guys all the time, you can do anything that you want to do. Let me see if I can move this along. These are my children. You don't need to see them. This is I have 8 streams of income. Most people don't know that, but I do. This is the NAACP Image Awards. I wanted to talk to you about it. That dress that you see, Kyle, I designed it, right? Designing that dress opened up the door for me to design an outfit for one of the actresses for Greenleaf, who loved my outfit. You see your mouth? I wanted you to see this so you could get an idea. All these actresses, we watched her win her 4 awards, right? Let me keep going. Oh wait, let me just make sure I'm doing this right. This is her, a singer. This is Nia Mal that went with me. Who was that? You see who that is? Okay, right? And she was, again, Kyle, because of the way I was dressed, she literally walked up to me, put her arms around me and said, "You look amazing." The same thing happened with Angela Bassett, right? So you always dream big. There they are. Tiffany Haddish over there in the corner, Michael B. Jordan, the woman who leads the youth programs for the national NAACP, right? Look at that. Kyle, you especially, I designed that. Right? And what it ended up doing was getting me, they asked me to submit a costume design for the upcoming Black Panther movie. They may or may not choose it, but I'm submitting it to them, right? And this is just from being creative. All right, I'm trying to slip through. These are all the other things that I designed, Kyle. Can you see them? So I'm telling you, don't limit yourself. This one in the middle, the plaid one, is literally upholstery fabric. I picked up upholstery fabric for $3 and something cents a yard, created that design, and it was something that everybody loved it. This again, Harry Belafonte, that's singer Maxwell. The purple jumpsuit, I designed a purple lace jumpsuit with a purple cummerbund that I wore, and it got the attention of Beyonce's mother, who was sitting right next to Maxwell, and I got to talk to her about the things that I've designed. I keep telling you all, this is my son's wedding, another piece that I designed. And so never let anybody put you in a box. I'm going to stop the share. I just wanted to share that briefly with you. Never let anybody put you in a box. And so while I am a radio show host here on WURD, I design all my own clothes, right? I've written now I have 7 pieces of work that's already written. Only one of which has been published, but I'm working through it. I do a Zoom cooking class. We are in the middle of a pandemic, but just because we're in the middle of a pandemic does not mean that there's things that we can't do. Do you get what I'm saying? And on top of that, I do implicit bias work very quietly, and I've been doing that for over 2 decades. So when you see that kind of stuff and understand, and I'm old as dirt. I mean, I've got like 40 years on you. Easy, right? So when you see that kind of stuff and what we are capable of doing as a people, how does that inspire you to do something different with your life? Answer that question for me. Nevin, I'm picking on you first because you showed up last. Let's go. When you see, you can tell I love young people. When you see what we're capable of and what's possible, right? The other thing I talk to the young people about is just because you make the money don't mean you need to spend it. Right? So when you make the money, you want to save, you want to invest, you want to do something other than throwing it out there and throwing it all away. When you buy a brand new car and drive it off the lot, it depreciates so much that it makes no sense. So one of the pieces of advice I'm going to give you is buy a car with a good engine. Okay, that can last you a long time, and take your money and put it into things like making sure you pay for your things to be trademarked, right? Creating a business account, creating, making sure that you have someone that can do your taxes. You want to learn these things now so that you don't get to 30 and 40 and 50 and wondering, how am I able to get that stuff done? Michael's talking to me. Michael says team forerunner. So for some of us it's a Toyota, because a Toyota you can drive. I have a car in my driveway that has 240,000 miles on it. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Right? And so part of our natural thought is to look to the designers and the different people are out there, but we have such brilliance inside of us. We can create the same things that they have done and make the kinds of money to do what we need to do. But your core values have to be in place. You have to be willing to get up early in the morning and work. I am up at 3 o'clock every morning, every single morning. I am up at 3. I am writing. I'm on my bicycle no later than 5 or 6 o'clock. And by the time most people get up out of their beds, I would have accomplished 3 or 4 hours worth of work. It's the only way you're going to make it when you are sitting in the middle of a pandemic and you're wondering, how am I going to do this? What can I do? What do I do well? I asked you this last month. What do you do well? So when you see these kinds of things, what comes to mind for you now? Because every month, I want you to tell us, because people are watching you and they love you and they think that what you're doing is great. And one lady just said that she was going to make her grandchild join the program, join the BET program. You are ambassadors for other young people. So when you see this kind of stuff, what does this bring up for you now? Don't all talk at one time. Let's go.
When I see that type of stuff, I see different type of like accomplishment, because it really shows that we can do like pretty much anything possible.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, priorities have to be made, because you can't just do one thing. You can't say one thing and then do another
Mm-hmm.
thing. So
That's good, Nevin. You showed up late, but you mother, you took your bacon out of the fire, son. That was good. Who else? Yana, who's talking to you as you're on this? Tell them you're on a live broadcast. People are watching you. So what else comes up for the rest of you? Who wants to jump in? Brandon, you're muted, darling.
Oh, I know for me personally, when I see stuff like that, it gives me hope. It lets me know that, we really are making a difference and inspiring people, and that we really can help. We can make a difference. That keeps me going. That's what really wants me to keep doing this. That's what makes me excited.
Brandon, let me ask you this: what are your goals? Because I see something in you that I'm not sure if you see in yourself yet. What are your goals, Brandon?
Well, hopefully, first.
No. So let me share this with you from one mother to a child. It's not hopefully. I am.
That's right.
You're going to speak it in the present tense. I am doing X, Y, and Z. I will be such and such and such. I am. Speak it like it already happened. So not hopefully. Where do you see yourself, Brandon? Start that over again for me.
I see myself. I see myself becoming eventually becoming a television host one day, and then. But before that, I want to become a small business owner. I want to start buying properties and start becoming a property manager. Mm-hmm. And then I want to start a couple of other small businesses and start eventually make my own brand of eventually maybe like get into stocks and doing a whole lot of stuff. I see a lot of different paths I can go down.
Okay, Brandon, so here's how you're going to rephrase this for me. I am a TV host. I am an owner of several businesses. I own stock in the stock market. That's how I want you to, when you talk about those things, I am. Say it as if it happened. Because Brandon, everything that you're talking about and then some, I put on a vision board years and years ago, and all of it is happening. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? So when you speak in the present tense. Brandon, I am a TV host. I see it. I see it clear as day, son. And so you just want to make sure that you continue to have those conversations with yourself. And I'm not just talking to Brandon, I'm talking to all of you. When you think about your future, say, I am a real estate developer. I am a scientist. I own my own clothing brand line, and it is kicking dust. It makes Versace looks like he didn't try anything. You want to speak that into existence every single day that you're out here doing what you do. So, all right, who else? Very good, Brandon. Now, remember I told you that.
Like, get him, mother. Get him, mother.
I love young people. I love them. I love them. I love them. All right, so Kavance, when you saw all of that, what did that bring up for you?
Well, it just lets you know that lots of change is coming and lots of new different things is coming, and it makes you hopeful, and it gives you that happy feeling in your gut, like saying we're not going to be the traditional America where it's only old white men doing everything and they can only look good, they can only dress good. No, it's like everyone can do whatever, and it brings hope for everyone in the world, not just America, not just Canada, everyone.
I'm not crying today. Kyle, thank you, Kavance. Kyle, what are you thinking?
First, I want to say, like Kavan said, that feeling in my gut, just seeing how many, like, how much effort you put into your work and everything, and even other people that do things, it inspires me to come out of my shell more, because just a few months ago, I was the quietest youth council member. And I think anybody can vouch for that. And like throughout time, I've started to talk more about, I feel like I'm like at the prime of my teen years, I guess you could say. Like I have so much I want to do, and I feel very hopeful for it.
Yes, yes. Here's another piece of advice I'm going to give all of you. If you make $2, save 50 cents. Always just get into the habit of saving. Even if someone gives you $2, save 50 cents of that. Always save your money, right? Because when you need to turn around and look to see what can I do with what I have, you know, that saving is going to help you as you move forward. You understand what I'm saying? So I always used to tell my sons this: do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later. When they were growing up, they wanted name brand sneakers like everybody else, right? And I was like, nope, you get a pair of sneakers, a pair of dress shoes, and when your feet outgrow it, because I'm a typical Jamaican mama, y'all can talk about me when I get off of here, right? And so they would be like, oh, you are the worst mother ever. When they grew up and started making their own money and realized what they would have to pay for those shoes, oh, hunty. My oldest son said, I realized that until I could afford to buy those sneakers 4 or 5 times over was before I would buy a pair of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have to look at your business and say, I'm paying mortgage, I'm paying my electricity. My children are also following my footsteps. He ordered a Tesla and then changed his mind. He's like, let me go buy another piece of property. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like you want to, because the ultimate goal for my children is not to work until they're 50 and 60 years old, but to retire early in life so that they can do the things that they want to do, to travel. That's the ultimate goal for me, for all of you in this city and beyond. You are brilliant. People tend to dismiss you, but they go on your social media pages, look at what you put out there. This is why I'm telling you, be very careful. They look at what you put out there, they look at your ideas, and they take them and they trademark them and make millions. All throughout history, this is what's been happening. The woman who spent 42 years after she created the GPS, nobody would give her credit for it. It was a black man that created the water soaker. We are creative and we're beautiful and we're resilient, right? What did this bring up for you, Yana, when you saw this?
For me, I felt really inspired, and I feel like instead of like holding myself back because of how young I am, I feel like I should like try to do the things that I want to do. Because most of the time, like you're told, oh, you're too young, you can't start what you want to do until you're older and like actually have a home or all this. And my dad tells me this all the time, that you don't have to be a certain age in order to start your own business. And I could really start, so when I saw like, what you were doing, I'm like, oh, I could really start my business now. And, like you said, I could do what I want. I mean, I could do what I have to do now so I could do what I want to do later.
I feel like I hit the jackpot. Mr. Washington, people are asking on social media, how can they reach you guys? How can they get involved in the program? Is there an age limit?
Yes, first of all, again, thank you. Mother Andrea, we certainly appreciate you. You're an inspiration, and we thank you for treating all children like they're your children. It makes a difference. And you saved me from my conversation later. so thank you, because I got the parental side of me too, all kinds of thoughts going on. So thank you for that. In order to get in touch with us, you can certainly email at info, I-N-F-O, at mybetfamily.com, and we make that personal. My, M-Y, B-E-T, as in bringing everybody together, family.com.
Info at mybetfamily.com. All right. Is there a phone number for people who don't have internet?
Yes, absolutely. 267 688 3783.
267 688 3733.
3783. 3783.
Oh, 3783. This is why I always repeat this. Mr. Washington, you get the last few words. These young people have been wonderful. Next month, you're going to have to figure out what you're coming up with, because I'm going to have you on here until you are running this segment. Do you hear what I'm telling you? bringing everybody together. You're going to be running this segment. You want to be bringing people in here to tell folks what you have done each and every month so that the people in the city can see there are lots of good gems in this community. And we're not going to sit down and think about how horrible things are when there's solutions right in front of us. You are exactly who we've been looking for. So, Mr. Washington, you get the last few words, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much. First of all, I'll say to our young people, I certainly appreciate you. We love you. So, and you represent well. We'll certainly talk later because we're grooming you. And so,
that's right.
Just take it all in love, but know that, we've experienced some things and we just try to teach so that you guys don't have to go through some of the things that we've gone through. I also want to share a shout out, even as we talked about Black History Month, even going a little local. If you don't know these names, young people, we're going to talk about them so you can look them up beforehand. But we're going to go real local. The Leon Sullivans, the Cecil B. Moores.
Yes.
And now we also want to celebrate and pay homage to Cody Anderson as well, because he has certainly paved the way for a lot of us. And to our young people on the call, you may not even know who Cody Anderson is, but he's pretty much responsible in an indirect way for you being on here
on this show today. Yes.
So I want you to recognize those names. I certainly appreciate you all. We're in this thing together. Mother Andrea, they were prepared. They were thinking about the fact that the former president was acquitted, so they were upset about that. They thought they were going to talk about that a little bit today. And also,
so listen, we can stay. No, listen. We can. Let me take a break. We can come back and talk about this because guess what? I interviewed one of his lawyers last week on this show. Oh, wow. Stay tuned. Don't hang up. You all stay on. We're going to give you these last few minutes because Marva can do that because this is her show. Hold on.
All right.
You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Did you know you can use LIHEAP to pay your PICO bill? Last year, PICO customers received almost $17 million in free LIHEAP support. This year, take advantage. This deal is first come, first served. Apply now. Call 800-34-HELP-4.
I'm Anthony McGlaughlin. Been denied insurance? Call 215-782-8574. Life insurance, age 0 to 85, no examination needed. Homeowners insurance, any home, any condition, same-day coverage. 215-782-8574. Auto insurance, we can have you covered in 15 minutes. Business insurance, call 24 hours a day, 215-782-8574. I'm Anthony McGlaughlin. When you need insurance, I can help.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I was having conversations with my young people before we came back. Very nice, very nice. Come on, Yana. Let's go, honey. There we go. Now we can see your face. No hoodie. Everybody can see how beautiful you are. Let's go. We have 7 minutes, right, before I have to get off the air. When we come on next month and you have your conversation, tell me right up front. Because I kept asking you. Don't be shy. You see I love you, right? So no issues. You want to talk about the impeachment trial. Tell me what your thoughts were.
I think on a large amount of signatures were bipartisan. I said this a couple of days ago during our council meeting, but I just think it's just basically the vote was if you support Trump or you don't support Trump personally, or a lot of those senators were not looking at the true facts. And it's just basically Trump loyalists who voted to acquit him because they're afraid that if he does get reelected in 2024, they don't want to be on his bad side. Or if he does run for office, he don't want to be on his bad side. So I think I'm 14. Yeah. So yeah. That's what I think.
Can't get adults to have this kind of thoughtful conversation. So what that tells me about you, Kavance, is that your emotional intelligence is high. That is a good thing, right? You're able to look at the facts and look at both sides and decide what happens there. Okay, who else wants to chime in with this?
I do. This is a topic I was really passionate about because it for me, I only saw two sides, there were, like Kavan said, there was a side that was against Trump and a side that was with Trump, and within that side that was with Trump, there were people that I feel like most of them were not loyal to Trump, but they were loyal to the party. So that's why they chose Trump. That's why I feel like it was an act of loyalty and not of morality. I feel like that's what it was.
Anybody else would like to chime in before I faint? These brilliant young people. Anybody else would like to chime in before I faint in these streets? What's going on? Anybody else want to chime in? Okay, so let's talk about Ted Cruz. What do you want to talk about him? I already know. What are the thoughts? Come on. You wanted to talk about him. Go ahead.
Oh, wait, who's going first?
Go ahead, Nevin.
No, you can go. I already spoke.
All right. Thank you. To be honest, I think he's kind of corny, or at least from the circumstances. Like I found out he has a wife, apparently, so he could have sent them to like go and take his kids to Cancun or wherever he went. To leave your state and that type of, that like the moment, because like, the weather is like harsh over there. There's no power and stuff like that. So I don't know.
What does that tell you about his leadership, though, Nevin?
I think it could be improved. I don't think is good from the evidence, because I think it's kind of weird that he basically abandoned his state, and but he said that he regretted it later. So I don't know. It's a weird thing.
So one of the things you're going to learn about leadership is that we make mistakes, and that there has to be a place for us to find forgiveness. I want you all, though, to learn from that leadership mistake, something you should never do. When you step up to lead and be in charge of certain things, there's just certain things you should not. I don't care what the optics are. I don't care how cold you are. Everybody else in your state is cold. They had burst pipes. They had no electricity. They had to be boiling waters. People were boiling snow so that they could flush their toilets. It's untenable that you would get on a plane and go and with your family because your children wanted to take a little vacation. Just, not good with the optics. What you got to say, Brandon?
Oh, yes. Oh, man. It's just, it really aggravates me, because it's not just, how could you abandon people that you said were your people? You chose this state because it was where you came from. It's your home, but you abandoned your people. You abandoned your people, and you said it was an act of leadership. He has none, metaphorically and realistically. He has none, because now nobody respects him now, and nobody's gonna really nobody respects him, and he has no leadership skills because he would stay there with his people. He would go through it. He knows that you lead through image. He knows that. So him abandoning them, it makes me angry, because it had nothing to do with his family, because he could have, like Nevin said, he could have sent his family with his wife. He stayed there, and then he made the excuse saying that he couldn't get back into there because he couldn't get back into the state because of COVID restrictions. He knew that there were COVID restrictions. He could use that as an excuse why he couldn't get back. And even if there were COVID restrictions, he could have still helped them from where he was. He completely cut himself off. He didn't help them at all. He left them for them on their own. And all that people of Texas had was their mayors and their fellow citizens. That's all they had. So that, for me personally, it really angers me to know that he did that.
Let me say something to you. Mr. Washington, y'all gonna make mother. Listen to me. You are 14 and 13 and 15 years old having these kinds of clear and concise conversations. I hope the adults that are listening understands the value of what you bring, not just to this segment on the radio show, but the value that you bring to this life. Young people are people with brains. You are listening. You are clearly dissecting and digesting what's going on around you. And because you are our future leaders of tomorrow, this conversation is super, super important. And I know my technical producer said we need to get Cruz on the line because he needs to hear this. Coming from the mouths of 13 and 14-year-olds. Kyle, what do you have to add to this, honey? And then Yana.
I feel like
Yvonne. Okay.
I wanted to when I first heard about it, I wanted to like feel like kind of put myself on both sides of the situation, not only in the shoes of a senator, but the shoes of like a man that put his family first. In a way, because I don't like. Yes, it was wrong to abandon them in a time like this, but I also think I wanted to think like if he didn't have this type, like if he wasn't in the leadership that he's in, and it was just him and his family, he had the resources that he had. Will he
Go
still
ahead
do the
and do
same
what you
thing?
have to do. There you go. So this is why you have to choose your leadership roles, right? Right? Because you're right. If he was regular Joe Blow and had the resources, he could have gotten on the plane and go to Timbuktu if he wanted to, because he could get away from it. But he is a leader. He's a senator in his state. And so that's where the optics went wild. All right. Thank you so much, Kyle. Kavance, let's go, honey.
Oh, so I just wanted to say, like, basically, Ted Cruz went to a country that he doesn't like. He was one of the supporters about building the wall and keeping Mexicans and Central Americans out of the United States. And I find it funny that he chose to go to Mexico. But he's just like one of those stereotype politicians who say things but don't follow through with them, or who says that he supports people or Texans through all times, but she didn't. He's a senator. He should be one of the first people, along with the governor and along with all the other leadership positions, to help them. But a lot of those politicians were there except for Ted Cruz, and I feel as though that he could have helped. He could have stayed. He could have, did things that AOC did in Texas with the fellow congresswoman, went to a food bank, passed out food, or talked to the regular Texans, or just talking with the water companies in Texas, just to find how can you bring Texas life better and from out these dark ages. He just completely left the country to go to another country for a night, and to a country that he wants to build the wall with. Stop. I just find it funny, and yeah, it's just crazy.
I'm going to need to call on Jesus on the main line when I get off of this radio station. I have 1 minute left, Yana. Go ahead. Give me your thing. 1 minute, Yana. Go ahead. Yana's laughing at mother.
So we talking about Ted Cruz, right? Yeah. So I just feel as though when you just leave, a whole place that you're supposed to like be helping and running by yourself, that's just so irresponsible. Because let's say that like I'm in charge of like taking care of my son, and I just leave the house. That's not okay. Like you're in charge here and you're supposed to be. You have all these responsibilities and you just go ahead and leave. Like I get what Kyle was saying, like you got to take care of your family, but you run you're running a place, and you can't just sit here and leave everybody else and then only care about your people, because they're all supposed to be your people.
I gotta tell you that I am ending this show with all of you. I have 1 minute left before I get off the air. You have been you have exceeded all my wildest expectations. I am so proud of all of you. Next month when you come on, put some better lighting around you. Do not put your hoodies up, right? You see how you took your hoodies off and it just opened up your chi and you were talking to mother? That's what I'm talking about, right? Next month you get to decide what's the thing you want to talk about. Is the election? Is it COVID? Is it going back to school? Let's talk about that next month when you come on. Deal?
Deal. And I'll confirm that too. Shoot me a text and I'll text those topics right back to you.
Okay, will do. Listen, coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. What better way to end this show than with these brilliant young minds? I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.